The acrid smell of burning ozone and scorched earth filled the air as Alex crouched behind a crumbling concrete barrier. The once proud city of New Geneva, humanity's final bastion, lay in ruins around her. Towering alien vessels loomed overhead, their ominous silhouettes blotting out the sun and casting long shadows across the devastated landscape. Alex's hands trembled as she gripped her pulse rifle, the weapon's power cells depleted to their last dregs. At just 22, she had never imagined she'd be humanity's last line of defense. The young soldier's heart raced, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps as the ground shook with each alien bombardment. "Squad 7, report." The frantic voice of Commander Chen crackled through her comm unit. Alex swallowed hard, realizing she was the only one left to answer. "This is Private Alex Reeves. Sir, I'm all that's left of Squad 7, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. A moment of heavy silence followed before Chen's voice returned, thick with emotion. "Understood, Reeves. Fall back to the Citadel. We're initiating Protocol Omega." Alex's blood ran cold. Protocol Omega, the last resort, the final gambit when all hope seemed lost. With shaking legs, she rose and sprinted towards the imposing structure at the heart of New Geneva, dodging energy blasts and leaping over debris. As she ran, memories flashed through her mind. The first wave of the invasion 3 years ago, the fall of major cities worldwide, and the gradual retreat of humanity to this last stronghold. Alex had lost everything: her family, her home, her future. Now, it seemed even this final sanctuary would be torn away. Reaching the Citadel's blast doors, Alex pounded her fist against the reinforced metal. "Let me in. It's Reeves from Squad 7. The doors parted with a hydraulic hiss, and Alex stumbled inside. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians rushed about in organized chaos, their faces etched with fear and determination. At the center of it all stood Commander Chen, his weathered face grim as he coordinated humanity's last stand. "Reeves, glad you made it," Chen said, gesturing her over to a holographic display of the city. "We're out of options. The aliens have breached our outer defenses, and our weapons are proving ineffective against their advanced shields." Alex's throat tightened. "So this is it? We've lost." Chen's eyes flashed with a mix of desperation and resolve. "Not yet. We have one last card to play." He pointed to a pulsing red dot on the display. "This is Project Exodus. Our scientists have been working on it in secret since the invasion began. It's our only hope for survival, but we need more time to finish it." "What can I do, sir?" Alex asked, straightening her posture despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "I need volunteers for a suicide mission," Chen said bluntly. "A small team to hold off the alien advance while we complete the project. It's almost certainly a one-way trip." Alex felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. This was the culmination of humanity's struggle for survival. In her mind's eye, she saw the faces of her fallen comrades, her lost family, and the billions who had already perished. With a deep breath, she made her decision. "I'll do it, sir," Alex said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Whatever it takes to give humanity a chance." Chen nodded solemnly, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Your bravery honors us all, Reeves. Report to the armory for advanced weaponry. You and a handful of volunteers will be our last line of defense." As Alex turned to leave, alarms blared throughout the Citadel. A scientist rushed up to Chen, panic evident in her eyes. "Commander, they've breached the inner perimeter. We need more time." Chen's face hardened. "Reeves, this is it. Every second you and your team can buy us brings humanity closer to survival. Go now, and may whatever gods are left watch over you." With a final salute, Alex sprinted towards the armory, her heart pounding in her ears. As she ran, a strange calm settled over her. She was terrified, yes, but also filled with a grim determination. If this was to be humanity's last stand, she would make it count. The fate of the entire human race now rested on her shoulders and those of a few brave volunteers. As Alex prepared to face the alien horde, one question burned in her mind. What was Project Exodus, and could it truly save humanity from the brink of extinction? As Jake and Zara made their way across the ever-shifting landscape, a sudden tremor shook the ground beneath their feet. They turned to see the bunker they had just left erupting with chaotic energy, its structure twisting and warping. "Something's wrong," Zara said, her bioluminescent patterns flashing in alarm. Before Jake could respond, a group of figures emerged from the distorted air around the bunker. They moved with inhuman speed and grace, their bodies shimmering with the same quantum energy that now flowed through Jake and Zara. "Evolved humans," Jake breathed, recognizing the telltale signs of adaptation to the new reality. The leader of the group, a tall woman with fractal patterns swirling across her skin, stepped forward. Her eyes glowed with an inner light as she fixed her gaze on Jake. "We found you at last, Opener," she called out, her voice resonating with multiple harmonics. "Your meddling ends here." Jake tensed, instinctively shifting into a defensive stance. "What are you talking about? We're not your enemies." The woman laughed, a sound that sent ripples through the fabric of reality. "Oh, but you are. You, who helped unleash this chaos upon our world. You, who now seek to control the power of the quantum nexus for yourself." With a gesture, she sent a wave of energy hurtling towards them. Jake reacted on instinct, throwing up a quantum barrier that shimmered into existence just in time to deflect the attack. "Zara, we need to work together," Jake said urgently. "I'll defend, you counterattack." Zara nodded, her eyes already scanning the battlefield. As the evolved humans launched a barrage of reality-warping assaults, Jake focused on maintaining their defenses. He drew on his newfound connection to the quantum nexus, bending space-time around them to create a protective bubble. Meanwhile, Zara went on the offensive. Her bioluminescent patterns flared brilliantly as she manipulated the quantum energy around them. With precise gestures, she created localized pockets of altered reality, trapping several of their attackers in time dilation fields. The leader of the evolved humans snarled in frustration. "You cannot hope to stand against us. We are the true inheritors of this new Earth." Jake gritted his teeth, feeling the strain of maintaining their defenses against the onslaught. "Zara, we need to end this quickly. I have an idea, but I'll need you to amplify my power." Without hesitation, Zara placed her hand on Jake's shoulder. He felt her energy flowing into him, their consciousness merging at a quantum level. With this combined power, Jake reached out to the very fabric of reality around them. "We're not your enemies," Jake called out to their attackers, his voice layered with newfound authority. "We're all part of Earth's transformation. Fighting amongst ourselves only weakens us against greater threats." As he spoke, the air around them began to shimmer. Holographic images sprang to life, showing glimpses of the myriad realities now connected to Earth, some peaceful, some ravaged by war, all part of the greater tapestry they were now woven into. "Look," Jake continued, his voice resonating with the power of the quantum nexus. "This is what we're all fighting for. The chance to shape not just our world, but countless others." The evolved humans hesitated, their attacks faltering as they took in the visions before them. Jake pressed his advantage, using his connection to the Nexus to reach out to their minds, sharing the knowledge and perspective he and Zara had gained. The leader of the group stumbled back, her eyes wide with shock and dawning understanding. It's so much bigger than we realized," she whispered. Zara stepped forward, her hand still linked with Jake's. "We're not here to control the Nexus," she said softly. "We're here to guide it, to ensure that humanity in all its forms has a say in shaping our new reality." Slowly, the hostile energy dissipated. The evolved humans lowered their defenses, looking at Jake and Zara with a mix of awe and uncertainty. "What do we do now?" one of them asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. "Now, we work together. There are others out there like us, adapted to this new reality. We need to find them, unite them, and prepare for whatever comes next." The leader of the evolved humans stepped forward, her earlier hostility replaced by a cautious respect. "I am Lyra," she said, "and I believe we owe you an apology, and perhaps our allegiance." Jake nodded, extending his hand. "No apologies necessary. We're all trying to navigate this new world. Together, we stand a much better chance." As Lyra clasped his hand, Jake felt a surge of connection, not just to her, but to the entire group. Through the power of the quantum nexus, he sensed their fears, their hopes, and their potential. Zara smiled, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with excitement. "I think we just formed the first alliance of New Earth," she said. Jake couldn't help but return her smile. "It's a start," he agreed, "but we've got a long way to go." As the group began to discuss their next moves, Jake took a moment to marvel at how quickly things had changed. Just hours ago, he had been lost and seeking redemption. Now, he stood at the center of humanity's next great adventure. The transformed Earth stretched out before them, a canvas of infinite possibilities, and for the first time since his return, Jake felt a genuine sense of hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, a united front against the unknown forces that threatened their new reality. With newfound allies at their side and the power of the quantum nexus flowing through them, Jake and Zara prepared to take their next steps into the strange and wondrous future of a multiversal Earth. Alex's boots pounded against the metal floor as she raced through the Citadel's winding corridors. The distant sound of alien weaponry grew louder, punctuated by the screams of her fellow soldiers. She clutched the experimental pulse cannon Chen had thrust into her arms, its weight a constant reminder of the impossible task ahead. As she rounded a corner, a stray energy blast struck the wall beside her, showering her with sparks and debris. Alex stumbled, her shoulder slamming into a seemingly ordinary section of the wall. To her surprise, the panel gave way, revealing a hidden passage. Without hesitation, Alex ducked into the opening. The panel slid shut behind her, plunging her into darkness. For a moment, she stood frozen, her breath coming in short gasps. Then, sensors detected her presence, and soft blue lights flickered to life along the floor, revealing a steep staircase descending into the earth. "This wasn't in any of the briefings," Alex muttered, her curiosity overriding her fear. With one last glance at the sealed entrance, she began her descent. The staircase seemed to go on forever, spiraling deeper and deeper beneath the city. As Alex reached the bottom, she found herself facing a massive vault door. A holographic interface sprang to life, requesting authentication. Alex hesitated, then pressed her palm against the scanner. To her amazement, the system accepted her print, and the vault door began to open with a series of heavy clicks and whirs. "Private Alexandria Reeves, genetic profile confirmed," a synthetic voice announced. "Welcome to Project Exodus." As the door swung open, Alex's jaw dropped. Before her lay a vast underground complex, humming with energy and filled with technology beyond her wildest imagination. Sleek, cylindrical vessels lined the walls, each large enough to hold dozens of people. In the center of the chamber stood a colossal machine, its purpose unclear, but its importance evident from its prominent position. Alex stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. "What is this place?" As if in response, a holographic figure materialized before her, a woman in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a determined expression. Alex recognized her immediately as Dr. Samantha Reeves, her mother, who had disappeared 2 years into the alien invasion. "Hello, Alex," the hologram said, a sad smile on its face. "If you're seeing this, it means our worst fears have come to pass, and Earth has fallen." Alex's heart raced. "Mom, what is all this?" The hologram continued. "This facility is humanity's last hope, Project Exodus. We've been working in secret, combining our most advanced technologies to ensure our species' survival." Dr. Reeves' image gestured to the cylindrical vessels. "These are quantum stasis pods, capable of preserving human life indefinitely. And that," she pointed to the central machine, "is the Nexus, an experimental faster-than-light drive that can transport the pods across vast distances of space." Alex's mind reeled as she tried to process the information. Where? Where are we going? To the stars, Alex, the hologram replied. We've identified potentially habitable worlds in distant galaxies. The Nexus will scatter the pods across the universe, giving humanity multiple chances to rebuild and thrive. Suddenly, the facility shook violently. The alien attack had reached the underground complex. Alex turned back to her mother's image, desperation in her voice. How do I activate it? There's no time left. The hologram's expression turned grave. The Nexus requires an enormous amount of energy to function. We had hoped to have more time to find a safer way, but now... She paused, her voice heavy with regret. The only option left is to overload the Citadel's power core. The resulting explosion will fuel the Nexus and mask our escape. Alex's blood ran cold as she realized the implications. But that would destroy the entire city, and everyone still fighting up there. I'm so sorry, Alex, the hologram said, its eyes shimmering with holographic tears. The fate of our entire species rests on this moment. You have to make an impossible choice. As if to emphasize the point, another explosion rocked the facility. Dust rained from the ceiling, and distant alarms blared. Alex closed her eyes, her mind racing through the possibilities. Sacrifice the remaining defenders and the city to save a fraction of humanity, or fight a losing battle and face complete extinction. With a shaky breath, Alex opened her eyes, determination replacing fear. How do I do it? The hologram nodded solemnly and began explaining the activation sequence. As Alex worked, interfacing with the advanced systems, she spoke to her mother's image. Will I be going too? Yes, the hologram replied softly. Your genetic profile is keyed to the final activation. You'll be placed in the last pod automatically. As Alex completed the sequence, the Nexus hummed to life, its energy filling the chamber. The stasis pods began to glow, and she could see figures materializing inside them, humanity's best and brightest, preserved to seed new worlds. It's done, Alex said, stepping back as the final pod opened for her. The hologram of her mother smiled sadly. I'm so proud of you, Alex. Remember, no matter where you end up, no matter what challenges you face, humans are the universe's ultimate survivors. We thrive anywhere. As Alex stepped into the pod, the facility trembling around her, she held on to those words. The transparent cover closed over her, and a peaceful stillness enveloped her senses. The last thing she saw before losing consciousness was a blinding flash of light as the Citadel's core overloaded, propelling humanity's last hope into the vast, unknown reaches of the cosmos. In that moment, Earth fell, but the seeds of human resilience were scattered across the stars, ready to take root and flourish anew. Alex's eyes snapped open, her mind reeling as consciousness flooded back. The stasis pod hissed open, and she stumbled out, disoriented and gasping. The air felt thick and unfamiliar, carrying strange, acrid scents that made her eyes water. As her vision cleared, Alex realized she wasn't alone. A handful of other pods had materialized nearby, their occupants stirring to life. She recognized some faces: Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the brilliant physicist, Captain Zara Akoy, decorated Special Forces veteran, and Leo Chang, a prodigy in xenobiology. Others were strangers, but all wore the same expression of confusion and awe. "Where are we?" Leo asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Alex turned, taking in their surroundings for the first time. They stood on a vast plain of iridescent crystal, stretching as far as the eye could see. Twin suns hung in a lavender sky, casting long, shifting shadows across the landscape. In the distance, colossal structures that seemed to defy gravity loomed, their surfaces shimmering like oil on water. "Not where we expected, that's for sure," Zara said, her hand instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Dr. Tanaka was examining a device on her wrist, her brow furrowed. The Nexus was supposed to scatter us across different worlds. Something must have gone wrong with the calculations. A low rumble shook the ground, and the crystal beneath their feet began to glow with an inner light. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. "We need to move. Now." The group sprinted away from the pods just as the crystal erupted, spewing forth a geyser of luminescent liquid. Where it touched the ground, the crystal began to bubble and warp. "The whole plane is unstable," Yuki shouted over the increasing roar. "We need to reach higher ground." They ran towards the nearest structure, a towering spire that twisted impossibly as it reached for the alien sky. As they approached, they realized its surface was alive with movement, countless tiny, insectoid creatures skittering across its face. Leo's eyes widened with a mix of fear and fascination. Incredible. Some kind of living architecture. The entire ecosystem here might be silicon-based. "Admire it later," Zara growled, pulling him along. "Right now, we need to find shelter." As they neared the base of the spire, a new sound cut through the chaos, a high-pitched keening that set their teeth on edge. From behind a crystalline outcropping, a creature emerged. It was massive, easily the size of an elephant, with a body that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Multiple limbs extruded and retracted as it moved, and what appeared to be sensory organs pulsed along its surface. "Don't move," Alex whispered, her heart pounding. "Maybe it hasn't seen us." But the creature's entire form oriented towards them, vibrating with what could only be described as curiosity or hunger. It began to undulate towards the group, picking up speed. "So much for that plan," Zara muttered. "Run." They sprinted towards the spire, the alien predator in hot pursuit. As they reached its base, Alex noticed seams in the living surface, possible entrances. Without hesitation, she pressed her hand against one, praying it would react to her touch as the vault door had back on Earth. To her amazement and relief, the surface parted, revealing a dark passage within. "Everyone inside!" she shouted. The group dove through the opening, Alex last. As she turned, she saw the predator mere meters away, a pseudopod stretching out to grasp her. With a final burst of speed, she threw herself inside, and the living wall sealed shut behind her. Darkness enveloped them, broken only by the faint bioluminescence of the structure's interior. They could hear the creature outside, its keening now a frustrated howl as it searched for a way in. Is everyone okay?" Alex panted, doing a mental head count. Affirmatives came from the group, along with a few groans of pain or discomfort. As their eyes adjusted to the dim light, they began to make out their surroundings. The interior of the spire was a maze of organic-looking corridors and chambers, pulsing with an inner life of its own. "We're inside a living organism," Leo breathed, his scientific curiosity overtaking his fear. "The entire structure is one massive life form." Dr. Tanaka was examining her wrist device again. "I've managed to get some readings. The atmosphere is breathable, but barely. High concentrations of silicon-based compounds and trace elements we've never encountered before. We won't survive long without proper equipment." Alex felt the weight of leadership settling on her shoulders. "Okay, we need a plan. First priority is finding a secure location where we can regroup and assess our situation. Then we need to figure out if any of our equipment made it through, and how we're going to survive in this environment." Zara nodded approvingly. "Good thinking. We should also consider the possibility of intelligent life here. Those structures in the distance looked too ordered to be natural formations." As if in response to her words, a low vibration began to pulse through the walls around them. Patterns of light danced across the surfaces, forming complex, shifting geometries. "It's communicating," Leo whispered in awe. "The entire structure, maybe this whole world, it's alive and aware." Alex stared at the mesmerizing display, a mix of wonder and apprehension filling her. They had escaped Earth and the alien invasion, only to find themselves in an environment more alien than they could have imagined. As the enormity of their situation sank in, she recalled her mother's final words. "Humans are the universe's ultimate survivors. We thrive anywhere." Looking at her companions, scientists, soldiers, and survivors, all Alex felt a glimmer of hope. They were lost, alone, and facing unimaginable challenges. But they were also humanity's best hope, and they would find a way to adapt and survive. "All right," she said, her voice steady with newfound determination. Let's see what this brave new world has in store for us. As the group ventured deeper into the living spire, the reality of their situation began to sink in. The air grew thicker, making each breath a laborious task. Sweat beaded on their foreheads, not from exertion, but from the steadily rising temperature within the organic structure. "We need to find a way to regulate our body temperature," Dr. Tanaka said, her voice strained. "This environment is pushing our physiological limits." Leo, who had been examining the pulsating walls, suddenly stumbled. I don't feel so good," he mumbled before collapsing. Alex rushed to his side, her mind racing. "It's not just the heat," she realized aloud. "There must be something in the air, a compound our bodies can't process." Captain Akoi's military training kicked in. "We need to get to higher ground. If this is a gaseous substance, it might be denser near the floor." With Zara's help, Alex hoisted Leo up, and the group began a grueling ascent through the twisting corridors of the spire. As they climbed, the air seemed to thin slightly, but the oppressive heat remained. "Wait," Alex called out, noticing a change in the wall's texture. "Look at this." She pointed to a section where the living material seemed more porous, almost sponge-like. Curious, she pressed her hand against it. To everyone's surprise, a cool liquid oozed out, evaporating quickly in the hot air. "It's some kind of coolant," Dr. Tanaka observed, analyzing the substance with her wrist device. "The structure must use it to regulate its own temperature." Alex's mind whirred with possibilities. "If we could find a way to harness this, we might be able to create a microclimate that's survivable for us." Working quickly, the group fashioned makeshift containers from parts of their clothing. They collected as much of the cooling liquid as they could, using it to dampen their skin and clothes. The effect was immediate. Their core temperatures began to stabilize, and breathing became easier. Leo stirred, regaining consciousness. What happened?" "Alex saved our lives," Zara said, a note of respect in her voice. Again. As the immediate danger passed, the group found a relatively stable chamber to rest and plan their next move. It was here that the first cracks in their unity began to show. "We need to find a way back to the surface," one of the civilians, a man named Marcus, insisted. "There might be edible vegetation, or at least a chance to signal for rescue." Zara shook her head firmly. "Rescue? From whom? We're likely the only humans on this entire planet. Going back out there is suicide." "So what? We just live in this thing forever," Marcus shot back, his voice rising with panic and frustration. "Both of you, calm down," Alex interjected, stepping between them. "We don't have enough information to make any long-term decisions yet. Our priority right now is survival and gathering data about our environment." Dr. Tanaka nodded in agreement. "Alex is right. We need to understand this world before we can hope to survive in it. This structure, for instance, it's not just alive, it's responding to our presence. Look." She pointed to the walls, where intricate patterns of light were once again dancing across the surface. As they watched, the patterns seemed to coalesce into recognizable shapes, crude representations of the humans themselves. Leo, still weak but alert, stared in wonder. "It's trying to communicate with us. Maybe it's curious about us, just as we are about it. Or maybe it's deciding whether we're a threat or food," Marcus muttered darkly. Alex felt the weight of leadership pressing down on her. She knew she had to keep the group focused and united if they were to have any chance of survival. "Okay, here's what we're going to do. Dr. Tanaka, I want you and Leo to focus on deciphering these light patterns. If we can establish some form of communication, it could be our key to understanding this world. Zara, you and I will explore more of this structure, see if we can find any clues about its purpose or any resources we can use. The rest of you, stay here and continue collecting the coolant. We'll need a steady supply to survive." As the group dispersed to their tasks, Alex pulled Zara aside. "We need to be prepared for the possibility that not everyone will make it," she whispered, the gravity of their situation evident in her voice. Zara nodded grimly. I know. The stress is already getting to some of them. We'll have to make tough decisions if we want humanity to have a future here. As they set off to explore, Alex's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. They had survived the fall of Earth and the perils of interdimensional travel, only to find themselves fighting for survival on a world that seemed to defy the very laws of nature they understood. Yet, as she watched her companions adapt and problem-solve in the face of impossible odds, Alex felt a surge of pride and determination. Humans truly were the universe's ultimate survivors, and she was witnessing that resilience firsthand. The alien world around them pulsed with unknown life and potential dangers. But within the strange, living spire, a small group of humans had already begun to carve out their place in this new ecosystem. Their journey of survival and discovery was just beginning, and Alex was determined to lead them through whatever challenges lay ahead. As they ventured deeper into the unknown, the words of her mother echoed in Alex's mind, "We thrive anywhere." It was time to prove those words true on a scale never before imagined. As Alex and Zara ventured deeper into the labyrinthine structure, the organic walls pulsed with an increasingly complex array of light patterns. The air grew thinner, but also clearer, suggesting they were nearing the upper reaches of the spire. "Look," Zara whispered, pointing ahead. A large chamber opened before them, its ceiling lost in shadows high above. But what caught their attention was the group of beings gathered in the center. The aliens were unlike anything they had ever seen. Roughly humanoid in shape, they stood about 7 feet tall, with bodies that seemed to shimmer and shift like liquid mercury. Multiple limbs extended and retracted as needed, and what appeared to be sensory organs pulsed across their surfaces. They moved with a fluid grace that was both beautiful and unsettling. Alex and Zara crouched at the entrance, observing. The aliens seemed to be engaged in some sort of ritual or meeting, their bodies flashing with intricate light patterns similar to those on the walls. "We should go back and report this to the others," Zara whispered, her hand instinctively reaching for a weapon she no longer possessed. But before they could retreat, one of the aliens turned, its entire form orienting towards them. A ripple of awareness passed through the group, and suddenly all attention was on the two humans. "Too late," Alex murmured. "We need to approach this carefully." As the aliens began to move towards them, Zara tensed, ready for a fight. "Careful. They could be hostile. We should strike first, ask questions later." Alex placed a restraining hand on Zara's arm. "No. We're visitors here, remember. We can't afford to make enemies." Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, hands raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "Hello," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We come in peace." The aliens paused, their forms rippling with what might have been curiosity or confusion. Then, to Alex's amazement, one of them began to change shape. Its liquid-like body flowed and reformed until it stood before them in a crude approximation of a human form. "Hello," it echoed, the words sounding strange and distorted coming from its newly formed mouth. "Peace." Alex's eyes widened in surprise. You can understand us." The alien's body flickered with lights. "Understand. Learn. Adapt." Its voice became clearer with each word, as if it were rapidly mastering human speech. Zara stepped forward, her posture still tense. "What are you? What is this place?" The alien's form rippled, perhaps in response to Zara's aggressive tone. "We are Shapers. This, our home. You, not belong." "We didn't mean to intrude," Alex said quickly, shooting a warning glance at Zara. "We're refugees. Our world was destroyed, and we ended up here by accident." The alien seemed to consider this, its body pulsing with complex light patterns. The others behind it began to move closer, their curiosity evident in their shifting forms. "Show," the lead alien said suddenly, extending what looked like a tendril towards Alex's forehead. Zara moved to intervene, but Alex held up a hand to stop her. "It's okay," she said, though her voice trembled slightly. I think it wants to communicate more directly." As the tendril touched her skin, Alex gasped. Images flooded her mind, the history of the Shapers, their symbiotic relationship with the living planet, their advanced but alien civilization. In return, she felt the aliens sifting through her memories, witnessing the fall of Earth and humanity's desperate flight. When the connection broke, Alex staggered, overwhelmed by the experience. The alien's form rippled with what she now recognized as empathy. "Understand now," it said. "Your loss. Great. Your journey. Difficult." Zara, who had watched the exchange with growing unease, stepped forward. "That's all very touching, but what does it mean for us? Are we prisoners here, or will you help us?" The alien's form shifted, taking on a more authoritative stance. "Not prisoners, not yet welcome. Must learn, must prove." "Prove what?" Alex asked, still reeling from the mental exchange. "Prove worthy. Prove adaptable, like us." As if on cue, the chamber began to change. Walls shifted, new passages opened, and the very air seemed to thicken with challenge. "Trial begins," the alien announced. "Survive, adapt, become part of world, or perish." Before Alex or Zara could respond, the aliens flowed away, merging with the walls of the chamber. The two humans found themselves alone in a rapidly transforming environment. "Well," Zara said dryly, "I guess that answers the question of whether they're friendly or hostile." Alex shook her head, her mind racing with the implications of what she'd learned. "It's not that simple. They're testing us. This whole planet, it's like one giant, living organism, and the Shapers are its caretakers. They want to see if we can integrate without disrupting the balance. And if we can't?" Alex met Zara's gaze, her expression grim. "Then we won't survive here. Come on, we need to get back to the others. This trial isn't just for us, it's for all of humanity." As they made their way back through the now unfamiliar passages, Alex's mind whirled with the enormity of their task. They needed to prove that humans could adapt, could become part of this living world without destroying it. It was a challenge unlike any humanity had faced before, but also an opportunity, a chance to redefine what it meant to be human in this vast, alien universe. The fate of their small group, and perhaps of humanity itself, now rested on their ability to evolve, to become something more than what they had been on Earth. As the living structure pulsed around them, Alex steeled herself for the trials ahead. They would adapt, they would survive. After all, that's what humans did best. Alex and Zara rushed back to their makeshift base, their minds reeling from the encounter with the Shapers. As they entered the chamber where the rest of the group waited, all eyes turned to them, sensing the urgency in their demeanor. "What happened?" Dr. Tanaka asked, her brow furrowed with concern. Alex took a deep breath, steadying herself. "We're not alone here. We've made first contact with the native species. They call themselves the Shapers." A ripple of excitement and fear passed through the group. Leo leaned forward, his scientific curiosity piqued. "What are they like? Are they carbon-based like us?" "Not even close," Zara interjected. "They're like living mercury, constantly changing shape, and they've set us a challenge." Alex nodded, her expression grave. "The Shapers are symbiotic with this planet. They're testing us to see if we can adapt and integrate into their ecosystem without disrupting it. If we can't." She let the implications hang in the air. Marcus, the civilian who had argued for leaving the spire earlier, scoffed. "So we're lab rats in their alien experiment? I say we find a way off this rock and take our chances elsewhere." "There is no elsewhere," Dr. Tanaka reminded him gently. "This is our reality now. We have to face it." Alex stepped into the center of the group, her voice firm. "Dr. Tanaka is right. This is our one shot at survival. The Shapers have transformed parts of the spire into some kind of trial ground. We need to work together to overcome whatever challenges they've set for us." As if on cue, the chamber around them began to shift. Walls melted away, revealing new passages and chambers. Strange, plant-like growths sprouted from the floor, emitting a soft bioluminescence. Leo approached one of the growths cautiously. Fascinating. It's like they're terraforming the interior of the spire to test our adaptability. Or to kill us, Marcus muttered darkly. Zara's military instincts kicked in. We need to secure a perimeter, establish a safe zone before we start exploring these new areas. Alex nodded in agreement. Good idea. Zara, take Marcus and 2 others to scout the immediate vicinity. Dr. Tanaka, I want you and Leo to analyze these new organic growths. See if they're a potential food or water source. As the group dispersed to their tasks, Alex felt a tug on her sleeve. It was Sarah, one of the younger survivors who had been quiet since their arrival. What about me? She asked, her voice small but determined. How can I help? Alex smiled, recognizing the need to keep everyone engaged. I have a special job for you, Sarah. I need you to be our chronicler. Keep track of everything we discover, every challenge we face. If we succeed here, your records could be crucial for any future human settlements. Sarah's eyes lit up with purpose, and she immediately set to work, using a piece of the spire's wall as a makeshift tablet. As the hours passed, the group began to make progress. Zara's team reported that the new areas seemed to be arranged in increasing levels of complexity and potential danger. Dr. Tanaka discovered that some of the plant-like growths produced a nutrient-rich sap that was safe for human consumption. But it wasn't all good news. 2 of the scouts returned with painful burns from contact with a corrosive fungal growth, and the further they explored, the more the environment seemed to actively challenge them, with shifting gravity fields and atmospheric changes that tested the limits of human physiology. As night fell, or what passed for night in the eternal twilight of the spire's interior, Alex called the group together. We've made good progress, but this is just the beginning. The Shapers are watching us, evaluating our every move. We need to show them that humans don't just survive, we adapt and thrive. Dr. Tanaka spoke up, her voice tinged with excitement. I've been analyzing the light patterns on the walls. I think they're not just communication. They're a form of code, possibly controlling the environment around us. If we could decipher it, we could potentially shape this world ourselves, Leo finished, his eyes wide with the implications. A spark of hope ignited in Alex's chest. This was it, their path forward. That's our focus then. We learn to read this world, to speak its language. We become not just survivors, but partners in this ecosystem. As the group discussed strategies and formed plans, Alex felt a subtle shift in the air. The walls around them pulsed with new patterns, and she could have sworn she felt a sense of approval emanating from the very structure of the spire. They were taking their first steps towards true adaptation. The trial was far from over, but humanity had faced its first alien challenge head-on and was rising to meet it. As Alex looked at the determined faces of her companions, she allowed herself a small smile. They were redefining what it meant to be human, right here, right now, in the heart of an alien world. The universe had thrown them into the unknown, but they were adapting. They were surviving. They were thriving. And this was only the beginning of their journey. As days blended into weeks, the human survivors found themselves in a constant state of adaptation and innovation. The alien spire, once an incomprehensible maze, slowly began to reveal its secrets under their persistent scrutiny. Alex stood at the entrance of their newly established base camp, surveying the progress they'd made. What had once been a bare, pulsating chamber now resembled a functional living space. Makeshift hammocks, woven from the fibrous tendrils of bioluminescent plants, hung from the ceiling. Workstations, cobbled together from repurposed alien technology and human ingenuity, lined the walls. "Report," Alex called out, her voice carrying the quiet authority she'd developed over the past weeks. Dr. Tanaka approached, her eyes alight with excitement despite the clear exhaustion on her face. "We've made a breakthrough with the nutrient sap, Alex. By fermenting it with spores from the non-corrosive fungi, we've created a protein-rich paste. It's not delicious, but it's far more nutritionally complete than anything we've had so far." Alex nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Excellent work, Yuki. How's the supply? Stable for now, Yuki replied. Leo's working on cultivating the fungi in one of the lower chambers. If successful, we could have a sustainable food source within a month. As if summoned by his name, Leo's voice crackled over the comm system they jerry-rigged from salvaged pod components and the spire's own conductive tissues. Alex, you need to see this. Chamber E7, now. Sensing the urgency in his tone, Alex quickly made her way through the twisting corridors, her body instinctively adjusting to the subtle gravity shifts that still caught the others off guard. She found Leo standing before a wall covered in rapidly shifting light patterns. "What am I looking at, Leo?" she asked, her eyes trying to make sense of the complex display. "It's a map," Leo breathed, his voice filled with awe. "Not just of the spire, but of the entire planet. Look, this cluster here, it's us. And these larger nodes, I think they're other spires, other Shaper communities." Alex's mind raced with the implications. "Can we use this to navigate outside the spire?" Leo nodded enthusiastically. "Better than that. I think we can use it to communicate with other parts of the planet. Maybe even control certain environmental factors." A plan began to form in Alex's mind. "Gather the team. I think it's time we expanded our horizons." Hours later, the entire group stood assembled in their main chamber. Alex paced before them, her posture radiating determination and purpose. "We've survived our initial trials," she began, her voice strong and clear. "We've found food, created shelter, and begun to understand this world. But we can't stay hidden in this spire forever. It's time we truly became part of this planet's ecosystem." She gestured to the holographic display they'd rigged up, showing Leo's interpretation of the planetary map. "We're going to establish outposts in the surrounding area. Small teams, exploring and setting up sustainable camps. We'll use the Spire's communication network to stay in touch and share discoveries." Zara stepped forward, her military background evident in her stance. "It's risky. We don't know what's out there." "Exactly," Alex countered. "Which is why we need to find out. We can't adapt to the unknown if we never face it." She turned to address specific team members. "Dr. Tanaka, I want you to focus on expanding our food production. See if we can adapt Earth cultivation techniques to this alien flora. Leo, keep working on deciphering the Shaper's code. The more we can communicate with this world, the better our chances. Zara, you'll lead our first expedition team. Take Marcus and Sarah with you. Your goal is to establish a secondary base at this location," she pointed to a spot on the map. "It looks like a convergence point of several environmental zones, perfect for studying the planet's diversity." As Alex continued to lay out her plans, assigning tasks and setting goals, she felt a surge of pride in her team. They had come so far from the terrified refugees who had first stumbled into this alien world. Now, they moved with purpose, their eyes bright with determination and the thrill of discovery. "Remember," Alex said as she concluded the briefing, "we're not just surviving anymore. We're laying the groundwork for humanity's future on this world. Every challenge we overcome, every adaptation we make, is a step towards proving ourselves to the Shapers and securing our place here." As the team dispersed to prepare for their new missions, Sarah approached Alex, her tablet clutched tightly to her chest. "I've been thinking," she said hesitantly, "maybe we should give this world a name. If it's going to be our home, it should have a name." Alex smiled, touched by the young woman's sentiment. "You're right, Sarah. What did you have in mind?" Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement. "How about Nova Terra? It means New Earth in Latin." "Nova Terra," Alex repeated, letting the name roll off her tongue. She looked around at the alien yet increasingly familiar environment of the spire. "I think it's perfect." As she watched her team prepare for their greatest challenge, yet, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were no longer just survivors of a lost world. They were pioneers, adapters, the first human settlers of Nova Terra, and no matter what challenges this alien planet threw at them, Alex knew that they would face them together, innovate, adapt, and ultimately thrive. The next chapter of human history was about to be written, and it would be etched across the stars. As the human settlers of Nova Terra expanded their reach, establishing outposts and delving deeper into the planet's mysteries, they made a startling discovery. During an expedition led by Zara to explore a distant sector of the Spire network, her team stumbled upon a chamber unlike any they had encountered before. "Alex, you need to see this," Zara's voice crackled over the comm. "We've found others." Within hours, Alex had assembled a small team and made her way to Zara's location. As they entered the vast chamber, Alex's breath caught in her throat. Before them was a sight that defied imagination, a menagerie of alien life forms, each group contained within shimmering force fields. "It's some kind of zoo," Leo whispered, his eyes wide with a mix of wonder and horror. "Or a prison." Alex approached the nearest enclosure, where insectoid creatures with iridescent wings buzzed in agitation. In another, serpentine beings with multiple eyes undulated in patterns that seemed almost hypnotic. Each species was as alien as the last, a testament to the diversity of life in the universe. "Can we communicate with them?" Alex asked, turning to Dr. Tanaka. The scientist was already working on her portable interface, attempting to adapt their rudimentary understanding of Shaper communication to these new life forms. "It's complex," she admitted. "Each species seems to have its own unique method of communication, but there might be a way." Suddenly, a commotion erupted from one of the enclosures. A group of crystalline beings were gesturing frantically, their faceted bodies refracting light in complex patterns. As the humans watched, the patterns began to align with the coded light signals they had observed throughout the spire. "They're using the Shaper language," Leo exclaimed. "They must have been here long enough to learn it." Alex stepped forward, her heart racing. Using the interface they had developed, she projected a simple greeting in the light code. The crystalline beings froze, then erupted in a dazzling display of light and color. "They're responding," Dr. Tanaka translated, her voice filled with excitement. "They're asking who we are, and if we're the new jailers." Alex's face hardened. "Tell them we're prisoners too, just like them. Ask them what this place is, and why they're here." As Dr. Tanaka relayed the message, the chamber filled with a cacophony of sounds and signals as other species began to react. It was clear that the humans' arrival had disrupted a long-standing status quo. The crystalline beings' response came quickly. "They say this is a testing ground," Dr. Tanaka translated. "The Shapers bring species here to evaluate their potential for integration into the planetary ecosystem." "And those who fail the test?" Zara asked, her hand instinctively moving to where her weapon would have been. The answer came not from the crystalline beings, but from a low, rumbling vibration that shook the chamber. A massive, amorphous creature in one of the larger enclosures began to shift and change, forming crude approximations of each species present, including the humans. "We are the failed," Dr. Tanaka translated its vibrations. "We are those who could not adapt, could not integrate. We are the discarded." A tense silence fell over the chamber. The implications were clear: failure meant permanent imprisonment or worse. Alex's mind raced. They needed allies, information, and a way to change the rules of this cosmic game. An idea began to form, audacious, perhaps even dangerous, but potentially their best hope for survival. "Tell them we propose an alliance," Alex said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Humanity has always thrived through cooperation and mutual aid. Together, we might find a way to pass the Shaper's test that none of us could achieve alone." As Dr. Tanaka relayed the message, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of responses. Some species reacted with hope, others with skepticism, and a few with outright hostility. The crystalline beings flashed a rapid series of patterns. "They say it's impossible," Dr. Tanaka translated. "The tests are designed for individual species. Cooperation is cheating." "No," Alex countered, her voice rising with conviction. "It's adaptation. It's evolution. The Shapers want to see if we can integrate into this world's ecosystem." Well, no ecosystem thrives through isolation. It's the interconnectedness, the web of relationships between species, that creates a thriving biosphere. She turned, addressing all the captive species. On our world, we learned that the greatest achievements, the most remarkable adaptations, often come from symbiosis, different species working together, each contributing their unique strengths. That's not cheating, it's the highest form of adaptation. As Dr. Tanaka translated, a ripple of communication passed through the chamber. The crystalline beings conferred among themselves, then flashed a new pattern. They're intrigued, Dr. Tanaka said, a note of hope in her voice. They want to know how this would work. Alex smiled, feeling a surge of optimism. Tell them we start by sharing knowledge. Each species here has faced the Shaper's tests. Together, we can pool our experiences, our unique biological adaptations, and our diverse problem-solving approaches. United, we stand a better chance of not just surviving, but thriving on Nova Terra. As the message was relayed, the chamber filled with a new energy. Species that had long been isolated began to communicate with each other, sharing information and ideas. The amorphous discarded being shifted and changed, as if trying to encompass the concept of unity in its very form. Alex turned to her team, her eyes shining with determination. This is our chance to rewrite the rules of the game. We're going to turn this prison into a crucible of cooperation, a melting pot of interstellar adaptation. As the humans began the complex task of facilitating communication between the diverse species, Alex felt a profound sense of purpose. They had come to Nova Terra as refugees, but now they were becoming something more: mediators, unifiers, the catalyst for a new kind of planetary evolution. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges they could scarcely imagine. But for the first time since their arrival, Alex felt true hope. Together, this unlikely alliance of castaways and cast-offs might just reshape the future of Nova Terra, and in doing so, forge a new destiny for humanity among the stars. As the interspecies alliance began to take shape, a new crisis emerged that threatened to unravel everything they had built. It started with the crystalline beings, their once brilliant facets growing dull and clouded. Soon, other species began to show signs of distress. The insectoid's wings became brittle, the serpentine creature's scales flaked off, and even the amorphous discarded being struggled to maintain its form. Alex and her team watched in horror as the mysterious ailment spread through the prison population with alarming speed. Dr. Tanaka worked tirelessly, analyzing samples and data from the affected species. It's some kind of silicon-based pathogen, she reported, her voice strained with fatigue. It's attacking the fundamental structures of these alien physiologies, and it's mutating rapidly, adapting to each new host it encounters. Leo, who had been assisting with the analysis, looked up from his workstation. The strange thing is, it doesn't seem to be affecting us. At least, not yet. Alex's brow furrowed as she processed this information. Could it be something in our biology that's protecting us? Or is this another test from the Shapers? Before anyone could respond, Zara burst into the makeshift lab. We've got a problem. Some of the unaffected species are talking about isolating themselves. They're afraid of contamination. Alex knew they had to act fast. If the alliance fractured now, any hope of passing the Shaper's test and saving the infected species would be lost. Gather everyone, she ordered. It's time we put our human adaptability to the test. Hours later, representatives from all species, infected and uninfected alike, were assembled in the central chamber. Alex stood before them, her posture radiating determination despite the gravity of the situation. We face a crisis unlike any we've encountered before, she began. But humanity has faced pandemics throughout our history. Each time, we've emerged stronger, more resilient. And now, we'll use that experience to save not just ourselves, but all of you. She nodded to Dr. Tanaka, who projected a holographic model of the pathogen. This disease is unlike anything we've seen, but the principles of epidemiology still apply. We need to understand its transmission, its life cycle, and most importantly, why it isn't affecting humans. Alex turned to the assembled aliens. We're going to need volunteers from each species. We'll take samples, run tests, and work around the clock to find a cure. But more than that, we need your knowledge. Each of you understands your own biology better than we ever could. Together, we can crack this. As the various species conferred among themselves, Leo approached Alex with an excited gleam in his eye. I think I might have an idea, he said. What if our advantage isn't just our immune system, but our entire biological makeup? Alex raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Go on. We're carbon-based life forms on a predominantly silicon-based world, Leo explained. Our very existence here is an anomaly. What if that's why the pathogen can't affect us? Our biology is so foreign to it that it can't gain a foothold. Dr. Tanaka, who had been listening in, nodded enthusiastically. That could be it. And if we can find a way to introduce carbon-based elements into the infected species, we might be able to disrupt the pathogen's ability to spread, Alex finished, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. Over the next several days, the prison chamber transformed into a hive of activity. Humans worked alongside alien species, combining their diverse knowledge and abilities. The crystalline beings used their refractive properties to analyze the pathogen at a subatomic level. The insectoids, with their hive mind capabilities, processed vast amounts of data in record time. Even the discarded being proved invaluable, its adaptive form allowing for rapid prototyping of potential treatments. Alex found herself at the center of it all, coordinating efforts, mediating disputes, and pushing everyone to their limits. She drew on every leadership skill she had developed, both on Earth and since their arrival on Nova Terra. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of sleepless nights and countless failed attempts, a breakthrough came. By combining human blood plasma with synthesized carbon compounds and trace elements from uninfected species, they created a treatment that could halt the pathogen's progress. As Dr. Tanaka administered the first doses to the critically ill crystalline beings, Alex addressed the gathered species once more. What we've achieved here is more than just finding a cure, she said, her voice filled with emotion. We've proven that our greatest strength lies in our diversity, in our ability to come together and adapt in the face of overwhelming odds. She gestured to the recovering aliens, their facets already beginning to regain their luster. This is what the Shapers wanted to see, not just individual species surviving, but a complex, interconnected ecosystem of cooperation and mutual support. As if in response to her words, the chamber filled with a soft, pulsing light. The walls themselves seemed to come alive with patterns more intricate and beautiful than any they had seen before. Leo's eyes widened in realization. "It's the Shapers," he whispered. "They're communicating with us." As Dr. Tanaka worked to decipher the message, Alex felt a profound sense of accomplishment wash over her. They had faced extinction-level threats on Earth, survived an impossible journey across the cosmos, and now had overcome a pandemic that threatened to wipe out multiple alien species. Whatever the Shapers' message held, whether it was approval, a new challenge, or something beyond their imagination, Alex knew that they were ready. Humanity had proven its worth not just as survivors, but as unifiers, problem-solvers, and adapters on a cosmic scale. As the light patterns coalesced into a coherent message, Alex squared her shoulders, ready to face whatever came next. The future of humanity, and now of their alien allies, hung in the balance. But for the first time since their arrival on Nova Terra, Alex felt certain that they would not just survive, but thrive in this brave new world. As the Interspecies Alliance recovered from the pandemic, a new discovery shook the foundations of their understanding of Nova Terra. It began with subtle tremors, barely noticeable at first, but growing in intensity over several days. The vibrations seemed to resonate with the very structure of the spire, causing the light patterns on the walls to fluctuate wildly. "It's like the planet itself is trying to tell us something," Leo mused, studying the erratic data readings on his makeshift console. Alex, who had been coordinating with their alien allies to monitor the phenomenon, felt a familiar tingle of excitement. "Or show us something," she added, her mind racing with possibilities. Zara, assemble a team. We're going to find the source of these tremors. Using the Shaper's communication network they had deciphered, the team navigated deeper into the planet's crust than they had ever ventured before. As they descended, the tremors grew stronger, and the air became thick with an electric charge that made their hair stand on end. Finally, after hours of careful navigation through increasingly unstable tunnels, they emerged into a vast underground cavern. What they saw there left them speechless. Stretching out before them was a sprawling complex of alien machinery, unlike anything they had encountered in the spire. Massive crystalline structures pulsed with internal light, connected by conduits that seemed to defy the laws of physics. At the center of it all stood a towering obelisk, its surface covered in intricate glyphs that shifted and changed as they watched. "This isn't Shaper technology," Dr. Tanaka breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. "This predates them by, I can't even estimate how long." Alex approached the obelisk, drawn by an inexplicable pull. As she neared, the glyphs began to glow more intensely, reacting to her presence. "It's like it's been waiting for us," she murmured. Over the next several days, the cavern became a hive of activity. Humans and their alien allies worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the ancient technology. The crystalline beings used their unique sensory abilities to analyze the energy flows within the structures. The insectoids, with their advanced understanding of complex systems, worked on deciphering the ever-changing glyphs. But it was the humans, with their insatiable curiosity and lateral thinking, who made the crucial breakthroughs. Alex found herself at the forefront of the effort, her mind connecting dots that others couldn't see. "It's not just a language," she explained to the assembled team, gesturing at the obelisk. "It's a user interface. The glyphs change based on our interactions, our questions. It's learning us as we learn it." Leo nodded enthusiastically. "And look at how it responds differently to each species. It's adaptive, like it was designed to be universal." As they delved deeper into the workings of the ancient machinery, a theory began to form. This wasn't just some forgotten relic, it was a planet-wide system, one that predated the Shapers and possibly even played a role in Nova Terra's unique properties. "I think this is what the Shapers have been protecting," Dr. Tanaka posited. "Maybe even what they've been preparing other species to interact with." The implications were staggering. If they could unlock the full potential of this technology, it could revolutionize their understanding of the universe itself. After weeks of intense study and countless trials, Alex believed they were ready to attempt a full activation of the central obelisk. As the team made their final preparations, she addressed the gathered humans and aliens. "What we're about to do could change everything," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "This technology, this gift from an ancient civilization, could be the key to our future here on Nova Terra. But more than that, it could be a stepping stone to understanding our place in the cosmos." She looked around at the diverse faces of their alliance, human, crystalline, insectoid, and more. "Together, we've overcome impossible odds. We've faced extinction, battled pandemics, and unlocked secrets beyond our wildest dreams. Whatever happens next, we face it united." With a nod to her team, Alex approached the obelisk. The glyphs swirled and pulsed, almost eager for her touch. She placed her hand on the smooth surface, feeling a warm vibration coursing through her body. Suddenly, the entire cavern came to life. Energy surged through the ancient conduits, and the crystalline structures blazed with blinding light. The obelisk itself began to transform, its surface becoming translucent, revealing a swirling vortex of energy within. As the power built to a crescendo, Alex felt herself being drawn into the vortex. She tried to pull away, but the force was too strong. The last thing she saw before being engulfed was the shocked faces of her companions, reaching out to her in vain. In a flash of searing light, Alex vanished, leaving behind a stunned silence broken only by the low hum of the now activated alien device. Zara was the first to find her voice. Where did she go?" Before anyone could respond, new glyphs appeared on the obelisk's surface. Dr. Tanaka, her voice shaking, began to translate. The key has been accepted. The trial of ascension begins. Prepare yourselves, for the true purpose of Nova Terra shall now be revealed. As the implications of those words sank in, the team realized that their journey, far from being over, had only just begun. Somewhere out there, beyond the limits of their understanding, Alex was blazing a trail into a new frontier. And once again, the fate of humanity, and now their alien allies, hung in the balance. The ancient machine pulsed with newfound life, a silent promise of wonders and dangers yet to come. The next chapter of their cosmic adventure was about to unfold, and nothing would ever be the same again. The moment Alex vanished into the ancient device, Nova Terra itself seemed to awaken. The planet's crust trembled with increasing intensity, and the spires that dotted the surface began to pulse with urgent, frantic light patterns. Dr. Tanaka, her eyes glued to the obelisk's shifting glyphs, translated with growing alarm. It's a countdown. The device Alex activated is triggering some kind of planetary reset. We have less than 48 hours before. She trailed off, the implications too horrifying to voice. Zara, ever the pragmatist, snapped into action. We need to evacuate. Now. Leo, can you use the Shaper's communication network to broadcast a warning to all species? Leo nodded grimly, his fingers flying over the makeshift interface. Within minutes, the message was spreading throughout the prison planet. Evacuation was no longer optional, but a matter of survival. As the reality of the situation sank in, panic spread like wildfire through the diverse population of Nova Terra. The once orderly alliance began to fracture under the pressure of impending doom. Species that had worked together to overcome the pandemic now found themselves competing for limited resources and escape options. In the chaos that ensued, the human team fought to maintain order and devise a plan. They gathered in what had become their command center, the ancient alien machinery humming ominously around them. The Shapers must have had contingencies for something like this, Zara reasoned. There have to be ships or some other means of escape. Dr. Tanaka nodded, her brow furrowed in concentration. The light patterns we've been studying. Some of them might be navigation charts. If we can decipher them quickly enough, we might be able to locate evacuation points. As they worked feverishly to unlock the secrets hidden in the Shaper's code, reports flooded in from across the planet. The crystalline beings had discovered a hangar of sorts, filled with sleek vessels of unknown design. The insectoids, with their ability to navigate complex tunnel systems, had found a network of underground transport tubes that seemed to lead off-world. But with these discoveries came new challenges. Violent clashes erupted as different species fought for control of the limited escape routes. The fragile alliance they had built was crumbling under the weight of survival instinct. In the midst of this chaos, Leo made a breakthrough. "I've got it," he exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement and fear. "There's a master control center for the evacuation protocols. If we can reach it, we might be able to coordinate the entire exodus." The team quickly formulated a plan. Using their knowledge of the planet's systems and the trust they'd built with various species, they would make their way to the control center. But time was running out, and the journey would be perilous. As they prepared to leave the relative safety of their base, Dr. Tanaka made a startling discovery. "Wait," she called out, studying the obelisk's glyphs intently. "There's more to the message. It's not just about evacuation. It says, 'The worthy shall ascend. The rest shall be reborn.'" The implications hung heavy in the air. This wasn't just an evacuation, it was a final test, a cosmic sorting of those deemed ready for whatever came next. With renewed determination, the team set out. They navigated through corridors teeming with panicked aliens, used their understanding of the Shaper's technology to bypass security measures, and at times relied on the alliances they'd forged to overcome obstacles. As they neared the control center, they encountered a massive crowd of various species, all fighting to gain entry. The scene was chaos incarnate, a writhing mass of desperate beings, each seeking salvation. Zara turned to the team, her expression grim. "We'll never fight our way through that. Not in time." But Alex's lessons in adaptability and lateral thinking had not been forgotten. Leo's eyes lit up with an idea. "We don't have to go through," he said. "We can go around." Using their knowledge of the planet's structure and the ancient technology they'd studied, the team located a maintenance shaft that bypassed the main entrance. It was a treacherous climb, with the planet's increasing instability making every movement a risk. Finally, they emerged into the control center, a vast chamber filled with pulsing lights and holographic displays. At its heart stood a structure reminiscent of the obelisk that had taken Alex. As they approached the central console, the glyphs on its surface began to shift and change, responding to their presence. Dr. Tanaka worked feverishly to interpret the instructions, while Leo and Zara attempted to interface with the alien systems. With seconds to spare, they managed to activate the evacuation protocols. Across the planet, hidden hangars opened, revealing fleets of ships. Transport tubes hummed to life, ready to carry passengers to unknown destinations. But as the first wave of evacuees began to board the escape vessels, the team made a chilling realization. The ships weren't all going to the same place. Some were headed to nearby star systems, others to the far reaches of the galaxy, and a select few, somewhere beyond their comprehension. As they grappled with this discovery, the central obelisk in the control room began to glow with an intense, otherworldly light. The same energy that had engulfed Alex now filled the chamber. The team found themselves drawn towards the light, unable to resist its pull. As the energy enveloped them, Dr. Tanaka managed to translate the final message flashing across the console. "The trial is complete. The worthy shall witness the rebirth of worlds." In a blinding flash, the human team vanished from the control room, leaving behind a planet in the throes of evacuation and transformation. Their destination unknown, their fate uncertain, they hurtled towards the next phase of their cosmic journey. As the last ships lifted off from Nova Terra's surface, the planet itself began to shimmer and distort, as if reality itself was being rewritten. The age of trials was ending. The age of ascension was about to begin. The blinding light faded, and Alex found herself gasping for breath, her senses overwhelmed by the sudden transition. As her vision cleared, she realized she was no longer on Nova Terra. Instead, she stood in what appeared to be the command center of a vast starship, surrounded by her team and a diverse group of alien refugees from the prison planet. Before anyone could gather their bearings, a holographic display flickered to life in the center of the room. It showed a map of the galaxy, vast swaths of it marked in pulsing red and blue, with areas of conflict flashing in angry bursts of light. By the stars breathed an insectoid being, its compound eyes reflecting the holographic carnage. The war, it's consumed nearly half the galaxy. As the refugees murmured in shock and fear, Alex stepped forward, her mind racing to process this new information. What war? Who's fighting? A crystalline entity, its facets dimmed with what seemed like sorrow, responded. The eternal conflict. It has raged for centuries between the collective and the dominion. Countless worlds have been caught in the crossfire, entire species wiped out or enslaved. Dr. Tanaka, who had been studying the holographic display intently, turned to Alex with a grim expression. It seems Nova Terra was more than just a prison or a test. It was a sanctuary, hiding us from this galactic conflagration. The realization hit Alex like a physical blow. They had escaped one crucible only to find themselves thrust into an even greater conflict. But as she looked around at the faces of her human companions and their alien allies, she felt a familiar determination rising within her. "We may not have asked for this," Alex said, her voice carrying across the command center, "but we're here now, and we have something that might just turn the tide of this war." The alien refugees turned to her, a mix of curiosity and skepticism in their varied expressions. "What could we possibly offer in a conflict of this scale?" asked a serpentine being, its multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession. Alex smiled, a plan already forming in her mind. Unity, adaptation, innovation. On Nova Terra, we faced extinction-level threats, and overcame them by working together, by combining our unique strengths and perspectives. She gestured to the holographic display. This war has been raging for centuries, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. But we represent something entirely new, a force they couldn't have anticipated. Leo caught on to her train of thought. The technology we discovered on Nova Terra, it predates even this conflict. If we can fully unlock its secrets, we might have access to capabilities neither the Collective nor the Dominion possess. Zara, ever the tactician, added, and our experiences on Nova Terra have given us invaluable practice in adapting to new environments and overcoming seemingly impossible odds. We're not just refugees, we're survivors, tested in ways these warring factions can't imagine. As Alex elaborated on their potential as allies, she could see the alien refugees beginning to consider the possibilities. The crystalline beings sparkled with renewed hope, while the insectoids chittered excitedly among themselves. But how can we trust that humans won't simply use this opportunity to carve out their own empire? Challenged a being of pure energy, its form flickering with skepticism. Alex met its gaze unflinchingly. Because we've learned the hard way that going it alone leads to destruction. Earth fell because we were divided. On Nova Terra, we thrived because we came together. We don't want to rule the galaxy, we want to heal it. She turned, addressing all the gathered species. Think about what we accomplished on Nova Terra. We cured a pandemic that threatened to wipe out multiple species. We deciphered ancient technologies that had lain dormant for eons. We turned a prison into a crucible of cooperation and innovation. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, adding her voice to Alex's. The Shapers chose all of us for a reason. Perhaps this is it. Not just to survive, but to bring balance to a galaxy torn apart by war. As the aliens discussed among themselves, Alex could see the tide of opinion turning. The shared trials on Nova Terra had forged bonds between species that might never have cooperated under normal circumstances. Now, faced with a galaxy in chaos, those bonds were proving to be their greatest strength. Finally, the crystalline being who had first spoken about the war approached Alex. Its facets shimmered with a new intensity as it addressed her. You speak of unity, of healing. These are concepts long forgotten in this war-torn galaxy. If there is even a chance that your vision could bring an end to the eternal conflict, we would be fools not to embrace it. One by one, representatives of each species pledged their support. The insectoids offered their expertise in complex systems and strategy. The energy beings promised to help unlock the full potential of the Nova Terran technology. Even the amorphous discarded, silent until now, undulated in a gesture of agreement. As the impromptu alliance took shape, the starship's systems suddenly came to life. New coordinates appeared on the navigation console, pointing to a sector of space untouched by the war. It seems our path is set, Alex said, a mix of excitement and trepidation in her voice. We're heading into the unknown, but we're doing it together. As the ship's engines hummed to life, propelling them towards their destiny, Alex felt a profound sense of purpose. They had been brought together by chance, forged into a team by adversity, and were now poised to change the fate of an entire galaxy. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, filled with challenges they could scarcely imagine. But as Alex looked at the determined faces of her human companions and their new alien allies, she knew that they were ready. Together, they would face the eternal conflict, armed not with weapons of war, but with the most powerful force in the universe, the ability to adapt, to innovate, and to unite across the boundaries of species and stars. As the ship accelerated to faster-than-light speeds, Alex whispered a quiet promise to herself and to the galaxy that awaited them. We will not just survive, we will thrive, and we will bring peace to the stars. The starship's alarms blared to life, jolting Alex from a fitful sleep. She raced to the command center, her mind instantly alert despite the rude awakening. The scene that greeted her was one of controlled chaos, alien refugees and her human teammates working in tandem to respond to the threat. "Report," Alex called out, slipping into the leadership role with practiced ease. Zara, who had taken charge of tactical operations, responded without taking her eyes off the holographic display. Multiple hostile ships approaching fast. Energy signatures match. She hesitated, her voice tight with emotion. They match the invaders from Earth. A chill ran down Alex's spine. The very beings that had driven humanity from their home world had found them, even here in the depths of space. But this time, they weren't helpless refugees. This time, they were prepared to fight back. "Battle stations," Alex commanded, her voice carrying an authority that surprised even her. "Zara, coordinate our defenses. Leo, see if you can use the Nova Terran tech to boost our shields. Dr. Tanaka, work with our alien allies to find any weaknesses in the enemy ships." As her team sprang into action, Alex studied the tactical display. The enemy fleet was formidable, their ships sleek and predatory. But their own vessel, while a refugee ship, was no easy prey. It carried the combined knowledge and technology of multiple advanced species, including the mysterious legacy of Nova Terra. The first volley of enemy fire rocked the ship. Alex gripped the command console, her mind racing through strategies. "Evasive maneuvers," she ordered. "Use the asteroid field to our port side for cover." Their pilot, a multi-limbed being with reflexes faster than any human, complied instantly. The ship dove and weaved through the field of space debris, using the larger asteroids as shields against the enemy's energy weapons. "Alex," Leo called out, "I've managed to integrate some of the Nova Terran crystal tech into our weapon systems. It should give our shots a bit more punch, but it's unstable. We might only get a few good hits before it overloads." Alex nodded, a plan forming in her mind. "Save it. We're going to need every advantage for what comes next." She turned to the communications officer, a being of pure energy. "Broadcast a distress signal on all frequencies. Make it seem like we're more damaged than we are." As the battle raged on, Alex's strategy began to take shape. They played the part of a crippled ship, luring the enemy fleet closer. All the while, they were maneuvering into a specific position within the asteroid field. "Dr. Tanaka, status on those weaknesses?" Alex asked, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "Their shields are strongest at the front," the scientist reported. "But there's a vulnerability near their engine cores. If we could hit them there—" "We'd only get one shot," Zara interjected. "They'd adapt quickly." Alex's eyes gleamed with determination. "One shot is all we need. Everyone, prepare for my mark. This is going to get rough." As the enemy ships closed in for what they thought would be an easy kill, Alex waited for the perfect moment. The tension in the command center was palpable, every being holding their breath. "Now!" Alex shouted. In that instant, several things happened at once. Their ship cut its engines, allowing the gravitational pull of a massive asteroid to take hold. As they swung around the celestial body at breakneck speed, Leo unleashed the full power of the Nova Terran enhanced weapons. Brilliant beams of energy lanced out, catching the enemy ships off guard and striking their vulnerable engine cores. The result was spectacular. Two of the larger enemy vessels erupted in silent explosions, while others spun out of control, their systems overloaded by the unexpected attack. But they weren't out of danger yet. The remaining enemy ships regrouped quickly, preparing for a counterattack. Alex knew they couldn't survive another prolonged engagement. "Full power to the engines," she commanded. "Plot a course out of the asteroid field, maximum speed." As their ship rocketed away from the battle zone, the enemy in hot pursuit, Alex felt a moment of doubt. Had she pushed their luck too far? Then, a new alert sounded, but this one filled her with hope. On the long-range scanners, a fleet of ships was approaching rapidly. The insignia they bore was unfamiliar, but Alex recognized the designs of some of the vessels. They were the same as the escape ships from Nova Terra. "Our distress call," Dr. Tanaka breathed. "They heard us." As the reinforcements engaged the enemy fleet, buying them the chance to escape, Alex allowed herself a moment of relief. They had survived, against all odds. More than that, they had proven that humans and their alien allies could stand against the forces that had once seemed invincible. In the aftermath of the battle, as their ship limped towards the safety of the Nova Terran fleet, Alex looked around the command center. Humans and aliens alike gazed at her with respect and gratitude. She saw in their eyes not just relief at their survival, but something more hope for the future. Alex realized then how far she had come from the terrified young soldier on Earth. She had become a leader, one who could unite diverse species and stand against the greatest threats the galaxy could throw at them. As they prepared to dock with the flagship of their new fleet, Alex squared her shoulders. The battle was won, but the war, the eternal conflict that engulfed the galaxy, was far from over. Yet, for the first time, she felt truly ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. With her team of humans and the alliance of alien species they had forged, Alex knew that they were no longer just survivors. They were becoming a force that could reshape the very fate of the galaxy, and she would lead them every step of the way. The battered refugee ship limped into the docking bay of the massive space station, trailing debris and venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. As the docking clamps engaged with a resounding thud, Alex let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. They were safe, for now. "Status report," she called out, her voice hoarse from shouting orders during their harrowing escape. Dr. Tanaka looked up from her console, her face etched with exhaustion. "Life support is failing. We've got maybe an hour before the air becomes unbreathable. Engines are completely shot, and our Nova Terran tech is offline." Alex nodded grimly. "Then we have no choice. We need to disembark and seek help from the station's inhabitants." As the team prepared to leave the ship, Zara approached Alex with a concerned expression. "We don't know anything about who controls this station. They could be hostile, or worse, they might hand us over to our pursuers." "I know," Alex replied, her mind racing through potential scenarios. "But we're out of options. We'll have to rely on our wits and hope that our diverse group will be seen as more of an asset than a threat." The airlock cycled open, revealing a bustling docking bay filled with ships and beings of all shapes and sizes. At the far end, a delegation was approaching, tall, willowy creatures with iridescent skin and multiple eyes that blinked in mesmerizing patterns. Alex stepped forward, her posture straight and confident despite the fatigue that threatened to overwhelm her. "I am Alex Reeves, representing the survivors of Nova Terra and the planet Earth. We seek asylum and assistance." The lead alien regarded her with an unblinking stare. When it spoke, its voice was a melodious hum that seemed to resonate in Alex's mind rather than her ears. "I am Xantar, arbiter of Neutral Station Epsilon. Your arrival has caused quite a stir, human. We've been monitoring the conflict that follows in your wake." Alex's heart sank. If they knew about the battle, they might view her group as a dangerous liability. She needed to change the narrative, and fast. "Arbiter Xantar," she began, her voice steady and clear, "what you've witnessed is not just a conflict, but an opportunity. Our group represents a unique alliance of species, each bringing their own strengths and technologies. We have knowledge that could shift the balance of power in this sector of the galaxy." Xantar's eyes shimmered with interest. "Bold claims, human. But Neutral Station Epsilon has maintained its independence by not taking sides in galactic affairs. Why should we risk that for you?" Alex glanced at her team, drawing strength from their determined faces. "Because neutrality is becoming increasingly untenable. The eternal conflict is spreading, consuming everything in its path. Sooner or later, it will reach even this haven. We offer a third option, a force for balance and cooperation in a galaxy torn apart by war." As she spoke, Alex could see other aliens in the docking bay drawing closer, listening intently. She pressed on, her voice gaining passion and conviction. "On Nova Terra, we faced extinction-level threats and overcame them by working together. We've unlocked secrets of ancient technologies that predate even the eternal conflict. And now, we've proven that we can stand against forces that once seemed invincible." Xantar remained impassive, but Alex could sense a shift in the atmosphere. The gathered aliens were murmuring among themselves, their body language suggesting intrigue rather than hostility. Sensing an opportunity, Dr. Tanaka stepped forward. "If I may, Arbiter," she said, activating a holographic display from her wrist device. "This is just a fraction of the scientific advancements we've made by combining our diverse knowledge. Imagine what we could achieve with the resources of a station like this." The display showed schematics of their hybridized technologies, human ingenuity combined with alien bioengineering, Nova Terran crystal tech integrated with advanced propulsion systems. It was a tantalizing glimpse of potential that seemed to captivate the onlookers. Xanter's eyes blinked in a rapid pattern that Alex interpreted as deep thought. After a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the Arbiter spoke again. "Your words are compelling, Alex Reeves of Earth. But words alone are not enough. Neutral Station Epsilon operates on a system of fair exchange. What can you offer us in return for our protection and resources?" Alex had anticipated this question. She gestured to Leo, who stepped forward with a small, pulsing crystal, a fragment of the Nova Terran obelisk they had managed to salvage. "This," Alex said, her voice filled with quiet confidence, "is a key to understanding the fundamental forces that shape our universe. With it, we can offer you advancements in energy production, faster than light travel, and even the manipulation of space-time itself." The gathered aliens gasped in collective awe. Even Xanter's composure slipped for a moment, its iridescent skin flickering with barely contained excitement. "But more than that," Alex continued, "we offer you a chance to be part of something greater, a chance to help shape the future of the galaxy, not as conquerors or victims, but as architects of a new era of cooperation and discovery." Xanter was silent for a long moment, its multiple eyes darting between Alex, the crystal, and the diverse group of refugees. Finally, it spoke, its mental voice resonating with a new tone of respect. "Alex Reeves of Earth, you and your allies may stay. We will provide you with quarters and access to our facilities. But know this, you will be watched closely. Prove the worth of your words through actions, and Neutral Station Epsilon may yet become the ally you seek." As the tension in the docking bay dissipated and her team let out sighs of relief, Alex allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't a full victory, but it was a start. They had a foothold, a chance to prove themselves, and build the alliances they would need to face the challenges ahead. As Xanter led them deeper into the station, Alex's mind was already racing with plans. They would need to repair their ship, continue their research, and find a way to contact the other Nova Terran refugees. But for now, they had achieved the impossible once again. They had found a safe harbor in the storm of galactic conflict, and with it, a chance to turn the tide of the eternal conflict itself. The next phase of their journey was about to begin, and Alex was determined to make every moment count. Weeks passed on Neutral Station Epsilon, and Alex's team had slowly begun to integrate into the complex social fabric of the massive space hub. They had made progress in repairing their ship and continuing their research, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Late one night, as she pored over data in their makeshift lab, she noticed a pattern in the station's communication logs, encrypted transmissions that coincided with unexplained power fluctuations in the lower levels. Her instincts, honed by months of survival against impossible odds, told her this was more than mere coincidence. "Leo," she whispered, not wanting to wake the others, "I need you to create a distraction tomorrow. I'm going to do some exploring." The next day, as Leo orchestrated a spectacular and harmless malfunction in the station's hydroponics bay, Alex slipped away from the commotion. Using the hacking skills she'd developed on Nova Terra, she bypassed the security protocols of a maintenance shaft leading to the restricted lower levels. As she descended deeper into the bowels of the station, the sleek, well-maintained corridors gave way to older, more utilitarian structures. The air grew thick with the scent of ozone and something else, something alien and vaguely unsettling. Alex's heart raced as she approached a heavily fortified door. This had to be the source of the strange transmissions. Taking a deep breath, she applied the bypass code she'd painstakingly decrypted over the past weeks. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a cavernous chamber bathed in an eerie, pulsating light. Alex's eyes widened in shock as she took in the scene before her. Suspended in the center of the room was a massive, crystalline structure similar to the obelisk on Nova Terra, but far larger and more complex. Surrounding it were dozens of alien beings, including several she recognized as high-ranking officials of Neutral Station Epsilon. They were all connected to the crystal via glowing tendrils of energy. As Alex watched, hidden behind a cluster of power conduits, she saw Xanter enter the chamber. The Arbiter approached the crystal, its iridescent skin rippling with anticipation. "Report," Xanter commanded, its mental voice echoing through the room. One of the connected aliens responded, its voice distorted and mechanical. "The conflict spreads as predicted, Arbiter. Both the Collective and the Dominion continue to deplete their resources in futile battles. Soon, they will be weak enough for the final phase." Alex's mind reeled. The eternal conflict, the war that had consumed half the galaxy, it was all orchestrated by this group. Xanter's next words confirmed her worst fears. "Excellent. And what of our new guests? Have they provided any useful insights?" "Their technology is indeed remarkable," another alien replied. "Particularly the Nova Terran artifacts. With them, we may be able to accelerate our plans significantly." "Good," Xanter hummed. "Once we've extracted all useful information, dispose of them. We can't risk them interfering with the ascension." Alex had heard enough. She needed to warn her team, to alert their allies. But as she turned to leave, her elbow knocked against a loose panel, sending it clattering to the floor. Instantly, all eyes in the room turned towards her hiding spot. Xanter's mental voice boomed through the chamber. "Intruder, seize them." Alex didn't hesitate. She sprinted for the exit, her mind racing faster than her feet. She had to reach her team, had to find a way off the station. But more than that, she needed to get this information to the rest of the galaxy. As she ran, alarms blared throughout the station. Security forces converged on her location, but Alex was fueled by desperation and the hard-won skills of survival. She ducked through maintenance shafts, used her knowledge of the station's layout to create false trails, and even employed some of the Nova Terran technology they'd been developing to mask her life signs. Finally, breathless and battered, she reached the docking bay where their ship was undergoing repairs. To her relief, she saw Zara and Dr. Tanaka already there, looking confused but alert. "We need to leave now," Alex gasped, quickly explaining what she'd discovered as they raced to prep the ship for launch. As the engines roared to life, and they broke free from the station's docking clamps, Alex's mind whirled with the implications of what she'd learned. The eternal conflict, the destruction of countless worlds, the suffering of billions, all of it was engineered by a group seeking some kind of cosmic ascension. But why? And how did the Nova Terran technology fit into their plans? As their ship accelerated away from Neutral Station Epsilon, narrowly avoiding the defense systems that had suddenly come online, Alex knew that they were now truly alone. They couldn't trust the major powers of the galaxy, locked as they were in a manufactured war. They couldn't rely on neutral parties, who might be part of this vast conspiracy. All they had was each other, their wits, and the knowledge they'd gained. It wasn't much to go on, but Alex had faced worse odds before. As the stars streaked by outside the viewport, Alex turned to her team, her eyes blazing with determination. "We need to find the other Nova Terran refugees," she said. "We need to gather every ally we can trust, because we're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for the future of the entire galaxy." The ship plunged into the depths of space, carrying with it the hopes of not just humanity, but of all those who had been unknowing pawns in this cosmic game. The true nature of their struggle had been revealed, and the stakes were higher than they could have ever imagined. But as Alex looked at the determined faces of her companions, she felt a surge of hope. They had overcome impossible odds before. They would do so again. The galaxy's fate now rested in their hands, and they would not fail. The revelation of the cosmic conspiracy had galvanized Alex and her team into action. Over the following months, they had worked tirelessly to gather allies, resources, and intelligence. Now, as their small but diverse fleet approached the Sol system, Alex stood on the bridge of their flagship, her heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Earth, their long-lost home, loomed in the viewscreen, but it was a changed world, its once blue oceans now an alien purple, its landmasses crisscrossed with strange, geometric structures. The alien occupiers had reshaped the planet to suit their needs, but Alex was determined to take it back. "Final briefing," she called out, and her core team gathered around the holographic display at the center of the bridge. Dr. Tanaka began, activating a complex 3D model of Earth and its new defenses. "We've identified 3 primary control nodes for the occupier's planetary shield. If we can disable these simultaneously, we'll create a window for our ground teams to land." Zara, now the fleet's tactical officer, continued. "We'll be using the cloaking technology we developed from the crystalline being's refractive properties. It should give us the element of surprise for the initial assault." Leo, who had become their chief engineer, chimed in. "The Nova Terran energy weapons have been integrated into our ships. They should be able to penetrate the occupier's shields, but we'll only have a few shots before they adapt." Alex nodded, taking in the information. Their plan was audacious, combining human ingenuity with the best technology their alien allies had to offer. But the most crucial element was something uniquely human, the element of unpredictability. "Remember," Alex said, her voice carrying across the bridge, "our greatest strength is our ability to adapt and innovate on the fly. The occupiers may have superior numbers and established defenses, but we have something they can't replicate: the human spirit." She turned to address the alien members of their coalition. "And to our allies, your trust and support have brought us to this moment. Together, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for the right of all species to determine their own destiny." As the fleet moved into position, Alex felt a surge of pride. Their ships were a testament to interspecies cooperation, sleek hulls of human design, powered by Nova Terran crystals, armed with weapons that combined technologies from a dozen different worlds. "Commence Operation Homecoming," Alex commanded. The battle for Earth unfolded like nothing in human history. Cloaked ships slipped past the outer defenses, their crews using the insectoid's hive-mind interface to coordinate with inhuman precision. At Alex's signal, they decloaked simultaneously, unleashing a barrage of energy weapons that overwhelmed the shield generators. On the ground, strike teams led by Zara used personal phase shift devices, allowing them to move through solid matter. They infiltrated the occupier's strongholds, planting Nova Terran crystal bombs that disrupted the aliens' neural networks. Meanwhile, Leo coordinated a cyber assault unlike anything the occupiers had faced. Using the quantum computing power of the energy beings, they hacked into the aliens' communication systems, sowing confusion and chaos in their ranks. But the occupiers were not easily defeated. They responded with devastating counterattacks, their bioengineered weapons adapting quickly to the coalition's tactics. Alex watched from the bridge as entire ships were vaporized, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice for Earth's freedom. "We need to push harder," Alex said, her voice tight with determination. "Dr. Tanaka, it's time for Phase 2. Dr. Tanaka nodded grimly and activated a device they had kept in reserve, a terraforming engine reverse-engineered from the occupier's own technology. As it powered up, massive energy tendrils reached down to Earth's surface, beginning to undo the alien transformations. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The occupier's structures began to crumble as the very planet seemed to reject their presence. In the confusion, Alex saw their opportunity. "All ships, converge on the primary control spire," she ordered. "This is our chance to end this once and for all." The final assault was a blur of chaos and heroism. Alex found herself on the ground, leading a mixed team of humans and aliens in a desperate push towards the spire's core. They fought through waves of alien defenders, each step bringing them closer to victory. Finally, they reached the central chamber. Alex faced off against the alien commander, a towering being of shifting biomtal. But she wasn't alone. Her team stood with her, each member bringing their unique abilities to bear. In a climactic battle that combined physical combat with psychic warfare and technological hacking, they finally overcame the alien leader. As the command systems overloaded, Alex realized they had only moments to escape. "Fall back," she shouted, urging her team towards the exit as the spire began to collapse around them. They barely made it to the extraction point, their ship lifting off as the massive structure imploded behind them. As they broke atmosphere, Alex watched in awe as the alien fleet, now leaderless and confused, began to retreat. Cheers erupted across the communication channels as the reality set in they had done it. Earth was free. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Alex looked out at the planet below. It was scarred and changed, but it was theirs again. The real work of rebuilding was just beginning, but for the first time in years, there was hope. "We're home," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "We're finally home." But even as they celebrated their victory, Alex knew that their journey was far from over. The conspiracy they had uncovered, the forces seeking ascension, they were still out there. Earth's liberation was a crucial step, but it was just the beginning of humanity's resurgence on the galactic stage. As the fleet began descent procedures, Alex squared her shoulders. They had proven that humans could adapt, survive, and thrive against impossible odds. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity could really do when given a chance to flourish. The next chapter of their cosmic adventure was about to begin, and Alex was ready to lead the way into a future where humans and aliens worked together to forge a better galaxy for all. As the Liberation fleet dropped out of hyperspace on the outskirts of the solar system, an eerie silence fell over the command bridge. Alex stood at the viewport, her eyes fixed on the distant blue marble that was Earth, now surrounded by a swarm of alien ships and orbital structures. "Status report," she called out, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Zara's fingers danced over the tactical display. "Enemy fleet outnumbers us 3-1. They've got a planetary shield in place and... Wait, something's not right. Their formation is too perfect, too static." Alex frowned, her mind racing. They were expecting us. But how? Before anyone could respond, a massive energy surge erupted from Mars, engulfing a third of their fleet in blinding light. Ships vanished or emerged as twisted wreckage. "Evasive maneuvers," Alex shouted. "All ships, scatter and regroup at fallback point Alpha." As their remaining vessels desperately maneuvered to avoid the onslaught, Alex's mind whirled with possibilities. The enemy's trap had been perfectly laid, but in their precision, she saw an opportunity. "Leo," she called out, "remember that chaotic flight pattern you developed based on Earth insect swarms?" Leo's eyes lit up with understanding. "The one we couldn't get to work because it was too unpredictable for our pilots." "Yeah, but..." "Implement it now," Alex ordered. "And Dr. Tanaka, I need you to use the Nova Terran crystals to create a field of quantum uncertainty around our ships. Make us as unpredictable as possible." As her team rushed to comply, Alex opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Commander Reeves. We're about to try something unconventional. Trust your instincts, not your instruments. Fly like your life depends on it, because it does." What followed was a battle unlike any in human history. The Liberation fleet moved in patterns that defied logic and prediction, their movements amplified by the quantum field that made their exact positions impossible to pin down. The alien fleet, so reliant on their advanced targeting systems and pre-programmed battle algorithms, found themselves unable to land a solid hit. Their perfect formation began to break apart as they tried to adapt to the humans' chaotic strategy. Alex watched the battle unfold, calling out adjustments and encouragements. "Push harder on the left flank. Squadron Delta, dive towards that destroyer, trust me, they can't track you." As the tide of battle began to turn, the alien commanders grew desperate. They launched waves of automated drones, each armed with devastating weaponry. But even this tactic played into the humans' hands. Now, Leo, Alex commanded. Leo activated a device they had developed in secret, a massive electromagnetic pulse, augmented by Nova Terran technology. The pulse washed over the battlefield, frying the circuitry of the drones and disrupting the alien fleet's communications. In the ensuing chaos, Alex saw their chance. All ships, converge on the planetary shield generators. Hit them with everything we've got. The Liberation fleet struck like a thunderbolt, their weapons powered by the pent-up hope and determination of a species fighting for its homeworld. The shield generators buckled under the assault, creating gaps in Earth's defenses. But the battle was far from over. As the planetary shield fell, a massive alien dreadnought emerged from behind the moon, its hull bristling with weapons beyond human comprehension. "That must be their command ship," Zara said, her voice tight with tension. Alex nodded grimly. "And our ticket to ending this fight. All ships, form up on me. We're going to punch right through their defenses." What followed was a desperate charge towards the heart of the enemy fleet. Ships fell on both sides, the void of space lit up by explosions and weapons fire. Alex's vessel took hit after hit, its hull groaning under the strain. As they closed in on the dreadnought, Alex realized they wouldn't break through in time. The enemy vessel was powering up a weapon that could vaporize their entire fleet. In that moment, Alex made a decision that would be remembered in human history for generations to come. "All power to the Nova Terran crystal drive," she ordered. "We're going to ram them." Her crew looked at her in shock, but there was no hesitation in their compliance. As their ship accelerated to impossible speeds, aimed straight at the dreadnought's command center, Alex opened a channel to the fleet. "To all ships, this is Commander Reeves. It's been an honor fighting alongside you. For Earth, for humanity, and for all those who stand against tyranny in this galaxy, press the attack. Don't let our sacrifice be in vain." With those final words, Alex's ship struck the dreadnought. The Nova Terran crystals, pushed beyond their limits, created a reaction that tore a hole in the fabric of space-time itself. The dreadnought imploded, taking a significant portion of the alien fleet with it. In the aftermath of that cataclysmic explosion, the remaining human and allied ships surged forward with renewed vigor. The alien fleet, leaderless and demoralized, began to retreat. As the last enemy ships fled the solar system, cheers erupted across the Liberation fleet. Earth, scarred but unbroken, hung before them free at last. But amidst the celebration, a somber mood fell over those who had witnessed Alex's final, heroic act. She had given everything to secure this victory, embodying the very spirit of human determination and sacrifice that had brought them to this moment. As the fleet began descent procedures to a planet many had never seen outside of historical records, they carried with them not just the triumph of liberation, but the weight of Alex's legacy. Her actions had not only saved Earth, but had proven to the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, adaptable, unpredictable, and willing to pay any price for freedom. The battle for Earth was won, but as the first ships touched down on their ancestral homeworld, those who had fought knew that their journey was far from over. The stars awaited, and humanity, tempered by adversity and led by the example of heroes like Alex, was ready to claim its place among them. As the battle raged in space, Alex led a small, elite team on a daring mission to infiltrate the alien command ship. Their vessel, a hybrid of human and alien technology, slipped through the chaos of combat, its cloaking device straining against the immense energy discharges surrounding them. "We've got one shot at this," Alex reminded her team as they approached the massive dreadnought. "Once we're inside, we'll have to rely on our wits more than our weapons." The team consisted of Zara, whose military expertise would be crucial; Leo, their tech specialist; Dr. Tanaka, for her scientific insight; and two alien allies at Crystalline being named Crix, whose ability to interface with technology would be invaluable, and Zorn, an empath from a species that communicated primarily through emotional resonance. As their ship latched onto the dreadnought's hull, using technology reverse-engineered from the Nova Terran artifacts, Alex felt a familiar mix of fear and determination. They had faced impossible odds before, But this infiltrating the heart of the enemy's power was their most audacious plan yet. The team moved swiftly through the alien corridors, their path cleared by Leo's hacking skills and Crix's ability to manipulate the ship's systems. But as they neared the central command hub, they encountered an obstacle they hadn't anticipated, a psychic barrier that sent waves of disorientation and fear through their minds. "It's a defense mechanism," Dr. Tanaka gasped, fighting against the overwhelming sensations. "Designed to incapacitate intruders." Alex watched as her team struggled, even their alien allies affected by the psychic assault. But then she noticed something. Zorn, the empath, seemed less affected than the others. An idea began to form in her mind. "Zorn," she called out, fighting through the mental fog, "can you project emotions as well as receive them?" The alien nodded, its gelatinous form rippling with effort. "Yes, but I've never attempted it on this scale." Alex's eyes blazed with determination. "I need you to project our emotions, our hope, our determination, our love for our home. Flood this ship with the reason we're fighting." As Zorn began to concentrate, Alex turned to her human companions. "Think of Earth, of everything we're fighting for. Every good memory, every reason we can't fail. Feed those emotions to Zorn." The effect was gradual at first, but soon became overwhelming. The psychic barrier, designed to instill fear and confusion, was overloaded by the intense, positive emotions radiating from the small team. Memories of Earth's beauty, the laughter of loved ones, the triumph of human perseverance, all of it poured through Zorn and into the ship's systems. Crix, interfacing with a nearby console, chittered excitedly. "The barrier is faltering. The ship's AI doesn't know how to process these inputs." With renewed vigor, the team pressed forward, breaking through to the command hub. There, they found themselves face to face with the alien leader, a being of shifting metallic fluid, its form constantly adapting and changing. As weapons were raised on both sides, Alex made a decision that would once again prove the unique strength of humanity. She stepped forward, unarmed, and addressed the alien directly. "We don't have to fight," she said, her voice steady. "You've seen our memories, felt our emotions. You know why we're here, why we can't give up. But I also know that you're not just a conqueror. You're a leader, responsible for your people. Let's find a solution that doesn't end in more destruction." The alien leader paused, its fluid form rippling with what might have been surprise. When it spoke, its voice was a metallic rasp. "You would negotiate, even now, when victory seems within your grasp?" Alex nodded. "Because that's what makes us human. We can fight, yes, but we can also empathize, adapt, and find common ground, even with those we once called enemies." What followed was a tense negotiation, with Alex drawing on every diplomatic skill she had developed since leaving Earth. She spoke of cooperation instead of conquest, of the potential for both species to learn and grow together. All the while, Zorn continued to project the team's genuine emotions, making it impossible for the alien leader to doubt their sincerity. Slowly, incredibly, the alien stance began to shift. Its fluid form settled into a more humanoid shape, a gesture Alex interpreted as a sign of willingness to communicate on equal terms. "Your species is unlike any we have encountered," the alien leader admitted. "We came seeking resources, believing your world ripe for conquest. But perhaps there is more to be gained through alliance than subjugation." As the alien leader began to issue stand-down orders to its fleet, Alex felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had done it not just through force of arms, but through the very traits that defined humanity at its best: empathy, creativity, and the ability to find hope even in the darkest moments. The battle for Earth was ending, not with a final, destructive clash, but with the first steps towards understanding between two vastly different species. As Alex and her team were escorted not as prisoners, but as honored guests to begin formal negotiations, she realized that this victory was greater than anything she could have imagined. They had not just saved Earth. They had opened a door to a new future, one where humanity's unique traits could help forge a more cooperative, empathetic galaxy. The road ahead would be long and undoubtedly filled with challenges, but for the first time since the invasion, Alex felt genuine optimism for the future. As they prepared to send word of the ceasefire to the human fleet, Alex looked at her diverse team, human and alien alike, and smiled. This was just the beginning of humanity's true role in the cosmic community, and she couldn't wait to see what the future held. The alien command ship's central chamber was a marvel of biotechnology, its walls pulsing with living circuitry. Alex stood at its center, facing the alien commander, a being of shimmering, liquid metal that towered over her. Despite the disparity in their physical presence, Alex's posture radiated confidence and determination. "You've fought well, human," the commander's voice resonated through the chamber, a mix of admiration and wariness in its tone. "But surely you must see the futility of your resistance. Our technology, our numbers, they far exceed yours." Alex met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. "And yet, here we are, a handful of refugees and their allies, standing against an interstellar empire. Doesn't that make you wonder why?" The commander's form rippled, a gesture Alex had come to recognize as curiosity. She pressed on, drawing on everything she had learned about both human nature and alien psychology during their long struggle. "You see, what makes humans unique isn't our technology or our physical capabilities," Alex explained. "It's our adaptability, our creativity in the face of adversity. Every challenge you've thrown at us, we've found a way to overcome, not because we're stronger, but because we refuse to accept defeat." The alien's form shifted, taking on a more humanoid appearance, a sign, Alex hoped, of a willingness to engage on equal terms. "An admirable trait," the commander conceded. "But how does this change the reality of our conflict?" Alex smiled, recognizing the opening she'd been waiting for. "It changes everything, because what you see as a war to be won, we see as an opportunity for growth and collaboration." She gestured to the diverse team behind her, humans and aliens who had fought side by side. "Look at what we've accomplished by working together. We've combined technologies in ways neither of us had imagined. We've formed bonds that transcend species. Imagine what we could achieve if we turned that cooperative spirit towards peaceful endeavors." The commander was silent for a moment, its form undulating as it processed her words. "You propose an alliance? After all the destruction we've caused?" "I propose a new beginning," Alex countered. "Earth has suffered, yes, but we've also learned. We've seen the wonders and terrors the galaxy has to offer. We don't want to simply reclaim our planet, we want to take our place in the galactic community." She took a step forward, her voice filled with passion. "Think about it. Humanity's adaptability, our drive to explore and innovate, combined with your advanced technology and established presence in the galaxy. We could be the bridge between worlds, helping to forge connections between species that might otherwise never understand each other." The alien commander's form rippled more intensely, and Alex sensed she was making headway. She decided to take a risk, appealing to a sentiment she hoped was universal. "And consider this: every species, no matter how advanced, must have faced moments in its history where it stood on the brink of extinction, moments where it had to evolve or perish. Humanity is at that point now. By allowing us to join the galactic community, you're not just sparing a planet, you're witnessing the birth of a species' cosmic identity." The chamber fell silent as the commander contemplated her words. Alex held her breath, acutely aware that the fate of Earth and humanity's future hung in the balance. Finally, the alien spoke. "Your words are compelling, human. But words alone are not enough. How can we trust that humanity will not seek revenge for the harm we've caused?" Alex had anticipated this question. She turned to Dr. Tanaka, who stepped forward with a small, pulsing crystal, a fragment of the Nova Terran technology they had discovered. "This," Alex explained, "is the key to unlocking secrets of the universe that even your civilization hasn't fully grasped. We offer it freely, not as a bargaining chip, but as a gesture of our commitment to mutual growth and understanding." The commander's form shifted rapidly, its interest palpable. "You would share such knowledge?" "Knowledge is meant to be shared," Alex affirmed. That's another fundamental aspect of humanity, our desire to learn, to understand, and to pass on what we've discovered. We don't want to hoard secrets, we want to explore them together. She could sense the shift in the room's energy. The alien's posture had changed, its liquid metal form now mirroring Alex's own stance of openness. There will be those among my kind who will resist this idea, the commander warned. Just as there will be humans who'll struggle to forgive, Alex acknowledged. But that's where we start, by acknowledging the challenges and committing to overcome them together. The alien was silent for a long moment, its form shifting through various shapes as if physically wrestling with a decision. Then, slowly, it extended a tendril towards Alex, a gesture she interpreted as the alien equivalent of a handshake. Very well, human. The commander's voice resonated with a new tone, one of respect and cautious optimism. Let us begin this new chapter. Earth will be freed, and humanity will be welcomed into the galactic community, not as conquered subjects, but as allies and innovators. As Alex reached out to complete the gesture, she felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't just a personal victory or even a triumph for Earth. It was a pivotal moment in human history, the day they truly became a cosmic species. Thank you, Alex said, her voice thick with emotion. We won't let you regret this decision. As the alien commander began issuing orders to cease all hostilities, Alex turned to her team. Their faces showed a mix of disbelief, joy, and determination. They all knew that the real work was just beginning. Rebuilding Earth, integrating into galactic society. Forging lasting peace, these were challenges that would test humanity's resilience and adaptability like never before. But as Alex looked out the command ship's viewport at the blue marble of Earth, now free from the shadow of invasion, she felt a surge of hope. Humanity had faced its greatest trial and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They were no longer just inhabitants of a single planet, but citizens of a vast, complex galaxy. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But Alex knew one thing for certain: whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them with the same spirit that had brought them to this moment. They would adapt, innovate, and above all, they would thrive. As the first messages of peace began to spread across the battle-worn fleets, Alex allowed herself a smile. The next chapter of human history was about to begin, and she couldn't wait to see what wonders it would bring. The dawn of a new era broke over Earth, its first rays illuminating a landscape forever changed by conflict and alien occupation. As the dust of battle settled, the enormity of the task ahead became clear. Earth was free, but the planet bore deep scars, both physical and psychological. Alex stood atop a hill overlooking what had once been New York City, now a sprawling mix of human ruins and alien architecture. The skyline was unrecognizable, with crystalline spires jutting up alongside the remnants of human skyscrapers. It was a stark visual representation of the challenge they faced: how to rebuild not just their world, but their entire civilization in the context of their new galactic reality. It's overwhelming, isn't it? Dr. Tanaka said, joining Alex on the hilltop. But also exciting. Alex nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. We're not just rebuilding what was lost, we're creating something entirely new. The first weeks after liberation were a whirlwind of activity. Refugee ships descended from orbit, bringing with them not just human survivors, but a diverse array of alien allies who had chosen to aid in Earth's reconstruction. The challenges were immense, but so was the spirit of cooperation and innovation. In what had once been Central Park, now a vibrant alien ecosystem, Leo oversaw the construction of a new type of power plant. It combined human ingenuity with alien technology and Nova-Terran crystals, promising clean, nearly limitless energy. This isn't just about powering our cities, he explained to a group of eager young engineers, human and alien alike. It's about showing the galaxy what we can achieve when we work together. Across the globe, similar scenes of rebirth and collaboration unfolded. In the Amazon, now home to a thriving colony of insectoid aliens, Dr. Tanaka led a team of xenobiologists in studying the unique symbiosis between Earth's recovering rainforest and the alien flora that had taken root. "We're not just preserving Earth's biodiversity," she told her team. "We're expanding the very definition of life as we know it." The oceans, once polluted and overfished, were being revitalized with the help of aquatic alien species. They introduced new methods of sustainable food production and helped cleanse the waters of centuries of human-made pollutants. Schools of bioluminescent alien fish now swam alongside recovering populations of Earth's marine life, a living testament to the planet's resilience and adaptability. But the rebuilding wasn't just physical. Zara, drawing on her military experience, worked tirelessly to integrate human and alien defense systems. "We're not preparing for war," she insisted during a Global Security Council meeting. "We're ensuring that Earth will never again be vulnerable. This time, we're part of a galactic community, and we have a responsibility to contribute to its stability." Perhaps the most profound changes were happening in the realm of education and culture. Schools were being redesigned to prepare the next generation, not just for life on Earth, but for a future among the stars. Children learned alien languages alongside human ones, studied xenobiology as well as Earth sciences, and engaged in cultural exchange programs with young aliens from across the galaxy. Alex found herself at the center of this whirlwind of activity, coordinating efforts between human leaders, alien allies, and the galactic community at large. It was exhausting, often frustrating work, but every small victory, every step forward, filled her with a sense of purpose she had never known before. One evening, as she stood watching the sunset from the newly constructed Harmony Tower, a massive structure that served as both a spaceport and a symbol of Earth's new role in the galaxy, Alex reflected on how far they had come. "Penny for your thoughts?" a familiar voice asked. It was the alien commander she had negotiated with, now a key ally in Earth's integration into galactic society. Alex smiled, still marveling at how quickly former enemies had become partners. "I was just thinking about all we've accomplished, and all that's still to come. There are days when it feels impossible, but then you look at this," the commander finished, gesturing to the bustling activity below. Humans and aliens moved about together, working, learning, building. "Your species continues to surprise us, Alex. Your resilience, your creativity, it's inspiring others across the galaxy." Alex nodded, feeling a swell of pride. "We've always been explorers at heart. Now we have an entire universe to discover." As night fell, the sky came alive with a spectacular light show, a combination of Earth's aurora borealis and the bioluminescent trails of alien ships entering and leaving the atmosphere. It was a vivid reminder of Earth's new place in the cosmic order. The road ahead was long and undoubtedly filled with challenges. Cultural misunderstandings, lingering fears and prejudices, the complexities of integrating vastly different technologies and societal structures, all these and more would test humanity's resolve in the years to come. But as Alex looked out at the new Earth taking shape before her, she felt an overwhelming sense of hope. Humanity had not just survived. They had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take their place among the stars. They carried with them the lessons of their past, the strength forged in adversity, and an unshakable determination to build a better future, not just for themselves, but for all sentient beings. As she turned to head back to her next meeting, this one about establishing Earth's first off-world colony, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. The next chapter of human history was being written, and it promised to be the most extraordinary one yet. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that humanity, with its unique blend of adaptability, creativity, and indomitable spirit, was ready to face them. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The era of cosmic citizenship had begun, and humanity, against all odds, was leading the way into a brighter, more united galactic future. The sleek diplomatic vessel Earthrise glided through the shimmering energy field surrounding Nexus Prime, the heart of galactic governance. Alex stood at the viewport, her breath catching as the alien megastructure came into view. Nexus Prime was a marvel of cosmic engineering, a massive ring world that housed representatives from thousands of species across the galaxy. "It's like nothing we could have imagined," Dr. Tanaka whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Alex nodded, feeling a mix of awe and determination. 5 years of intense preparation had led to this moment. Earth had risen from the ashes of invasion, transformed by the fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology. Now, they were here to claim their place in the galactic community. As the Earthrise docked at one of the countless spires jutting from the ring world, Alex turned to address her team. The group was a carefully chosen mix of humans and their closest alien allies, each selected for their expertise and their ability to represent the best of what Earth had become. "Remember," Alex said, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "We're not just here to ask for recognition. We're here to show the galaxy what humanity can offer. Our adaptability, our creativity, our ability to bridge divides, these are our strengths. Let's make them count." They disembarked into a docking bay that seemed to defy physics, its architecture a fluid blend of organic forms and crystalline structures. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions moved about with purpose, the air filled with a cacophony of languages and atmospheric compositions. A delegation approached a trio of aliens representing the Galactic Council's welcoming committee. The leader, a towering being of swirling energy contained within an exosuit, addressed them in a voice that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds. "Welcome, representatives of Earth, to Nexus Prime. I am Zyxthar, Chief Liaison of Interspecies Relations. Your presence here is unprecedented." Alex stepped forward, bowing slightly in a gesture they had determined was universally respectful. "We thank you for this opportunity, Chief Liaison Zyxthar. We come in a spirit of peace and cooperation." As they were led through the winding corridors of Nexus Prime, Alex and her team marveled at the diversity around them. Holographic displays showcased the achievements and cultures of countless civilizations. Gravity shifted subtly as they moved between sections designed for different physiologies. The air itself seemed alive with possibility. Finally, they arrived at the Grand Chamber, the heart of galactic diplomacy. The room was a vast amphitheater, its tiered seating occupied by representatives from across the cosmos. At the center stood a dais of swirling light, where the most influential members of the Galactic Council presided. As Alex and her team took their place at the speaker's podium, a hush fell over the chamber. The weight of the moment was palpable. This was humanity's chance to prove they belonged among the stars. The head of the council, a being of pure thought whose form shimmered like a constellation, spoke first. "Representatives of Earth, you stand before us as an anomaly. Never before has a species gone from planetary confinement to galactic player in such a short time. Make your case for recognition." Alex took a deep breath, then began to speak. Her voice, amplified and translated by advanced technology, carried to every corner of the chamber. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, we come before you not just as representatives of Earth, but as emblems of possibility. Our history is one of struggle, of near extinction, but also of triumph against impossible odds." She gestured to her diverse team. "Look at us. 5 years ago, we were a broken people on a ravaged world. Now, we stand here, side by side with species we once thought of as invaders. We have not just rebuilt our world, we have reimagined it." Murmurs rippled through the chamber as Alex continued, her passion evident in every word. "Humanity's greatest strength is not our technology or our physical capabilities. It is our adaptability, our insatiable curiosity, and our ability to find common ground even with those most different from us." She activated a holographic display, showcasing Earth's transformation. Images flashed by cities where human and alien architecture blended seamlessly, schools where children of multiple species learned together, scientific breakthroughs born from the fusion of diverse knowledge. "We offer the galaxy not conquest or competition, but collaboration. Our unique perspective as newcomers, combined with our rapid ability to adapt and innovate, can bring fresh solutions to age-old problems." As Alex spoke, she could sense the mood in the chamber shifting. Skepticism gave way to intrigue, and in some cases, cautious admiration. But there were also pockets of resistant species who viewed humanity's rapid rise with suspicion or fear. One such voice rang out, a harsh, grating sound that cut through the air. Pretty words, human. But how can we trust a species that so quickly turns enemies into allies? How do we know you won't betray us all for your own gain? Alex had anticipated such challenges. She turned to face the speaker, a silicon-based being whose crystalline form radiated hostility. "Trust is earned, not given," she replied calmly. "We don't ask you to blindly accept us. We ask for the chance to prove ourselves through actions, not just words." She turned back to address the entire chamber. "Yes, we have formed alliances quickly. We have adapted rapidly. But isn't that exactly what's needed in a galaxy facing unprecedented challenges? The eternal conflict still rages in distant sectors. Environmental crises threaten countless worlds. Ancient technologies lie dormant, waiting to be understood." Alex's voice rose with conviction. "Humanity doesn't claim to have all the answers, but we offer a fresh perspective, an unrelenting drive to explore and understand, and a proven ability to unite diverse groups towards common goals. We thrive anywhere not by conquering or dominating, but by adapting, learning, and growing." As she concluded her speech, the chamber erupted in a mix of reactions. Heated debates broke out among the representatives, their varied forms of communication creating a surreal atmosphere of light, sound, and telepathic impressions. The head of the council raised a tendril of light, silencing the chamber. "You have given us much to consider, representatives of Earth. We will deliberate on your petition for recognition. But know this: your presence here today has already changed the course of galactic history. Whatever our decision, the ripples of this moment will be felt across the cosmos for eons to come." As Alex and her team were led to a waiting area, she felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had done all they could. Now, the fate of humanity's place in the galactic community rested in alien hands. But as she looked at her team, human and alien alike, all united in purpose, Alex felt a surge of hope. Whatever the Council's decision, humanity had proven one thing beyond doubt: they could indeed thrive anywhere. The stars were no longer a distant dream, but a new frontier ready to be explored. The next chapter of human history was about to be written, and for the first time, it would be authored on a truly cosmic scale. As the Galactic Council deliberated on Earth's petition, an urgent message interrupted the proceedings. The chamber's holographic displays flickered to life, showing a massive anomaly spreading across a distant sector of the galaxy. The head of the council, its form shimmering with agitation, addressed the chamber. "We have received reports of a quantum fracture expanding at an alarming rate. Several systems have already been consumed, and our best projections show it will reach the core worlds within a standard solar cycle." Panic rippled through the assembled representatives. Species that had been at odds moments ago now turned to each other in shared fear. The quantum fracture was unlike anything they had encountered, a tear in the fabric of space-time that devoured everything in its path, leaving behind a void where the laws of physics no longer applied. As the Council debated emergency measures, most of which seemed woefully inadequate in the face of such a threat, Alex felt a familiar spark of inspiration. She turned to her team, her eyes alight with an idea. "Dr. Tanaka," she whispered urgently, "the Nova Terran crystals, didn't you theorize they could stabilize quantum fluctuations?" Dr. Tanaka's eyes widened in realization. "Yes, but we never had the chance to test it on this scale. It would require an enormous amount of energy and precise calibration across multiple points in space-time." Leo, who had been listening intently, chimed in. "What if we combined it with the harmonic resonance technology we developed for terraforming? We could create a network of stabilization points." Zara, ever the tactician, added, "And if we use the faster-than-light communication relays we reverse-engineered from the alien invasion fleet, we could coordinate the entire operation in real time across vast distances." Alex nodded, the plan taking shape in her mind. She stood up, her voice cutting through the chaotic debate in the chamber. "Esteemed members of the Council, Earth may have a solution. All eyes turned to her, a mix of skepticism and desperate hope on alien faces. Alex took a deep breath and began to explain their proposal. As she spoke, holographic models appeared, illustrating the complex interplay of technologies and theories. What we're suggesting, Alex concluded, is essentially a galactic-scale immune response. By creating a network of quantum stabilization points using Nova-Terran crystals, powered by harmonic resonance generators, and coordinated through faster-than-light relays, we can contain the fracture and gradually seal it. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices and telepathic impressions. Many were intrigued by the audacity of the plan, while others expressed doubt. A reptilian being, its scales shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, spoke up. This plan relies on untested technologies and theories. The risk is enormous. With all due respect, Alex countered, the risk of inaction is far greater. Yes, our plan is unconventional, but that's precisely why it might work. The quantum fracture is unlike anything this galaxy has faced before. It requires a solution that thinks outside traditional boundaries. She gestured to her team, each member standing tall despite the weight of countless alien gazes. This is what humanity brings to the galactic community. We're not bound by millennia of established protocols. We see connections where others see only chaos. Our entire history has been about adapting to the impossible and finding ways to thrive. The head of the council's form pulsed with what might have been curiosity. You would stake the fate of the galaxy on this untested human innovation. We would stake our own lives on it, Alex affirmed. Let us prove our worth not through words or petitions, but through action. Give us the resources we need, and we will either save this galaxy or perish in the attempt. A tense silence fell over the chamber as the council conferred among themselves. Finally, the head of the council spoke. Very well, representatives of Earth. Your petition for recognition is temporarily suspended in light of this crisis. Instead, you will be given provisional authority to implement your plan. The resources of the council are at your disposal. As the chamber burst into activity, with representatives rushing to offer assistance or voice concerns, Alex turned to her team. The magnitude of what they had just committed to was etched on their faces, a mix of determination, fear, and exhilaration. Well, Zara said with a wry smile, I guess this is our chance to really show that humans can thrive anywhere, even in the face of cosmic annihilation. Alex nodded, her mind already racing with the logistics of their audacious plan. All right, team, we've got a galaxy to save. Dr. Tanaka, start coordinating with the council scientists on the Crystal Network. Leo, I need you to oversee the adaptation of our harmonic resonance tech for space deployment. Zara, work on the strategic placement of our stabilization points. As her team sprang into action, Alex felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, innovative, adaptable, and unafraid to tackle the impossible. They had come to Nexus Prime seeking recognition, but instead found themselves thrust into the role of potential saviors of the galaxy. The next few days would be crucial. They would either seal the quantum fracture and usher in a new era of galactic cooperation, or they would fail and watch as the cosmos unraveled around them. But as Alex looked at the diverse array of species now working alongside her team, she felt a glimmer of hope. This was more than just a fight for survival. It was a chance to prove that humanity's unique perspective, their ability to thrive in the face of adversity, could be the key to solving problems on a cosmic scale. As they raced against time to implement their daring plan, Alex knew that the true test of humanity's place among the stars had only just begun. 5 years after the quantum fracture crisis, humanity's role in the galactic community had evolved dramatically. Their innovative solution had not only saved countless worlds, but had also showcased humanity's unique ability to adapt and overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Now, they faced a new frontier, transforming hostile, uninhabitable worlds into thriving colonies. Alex stood on the bridge of the colony ship Phoenix, overlooking the harsh landscape of Novus Prime, a planet once deemed too inhospitable for settlement. The atmosphere was thin and corrosive, the surface a maze of jagged rock formations and toxic pools. Yet, to Alex and her team, it was a canvas of possibility. Initial atmospheric processors are online, Leo reported, his fingers dancing over holographic controls. We're seeing a 2% increase in breathable air already. Dr. Tanaka nodded approvingly. The Xenoflora seedlings are taking root faster than expected. Their rate of oxygen production and toxin absorption is remarkable. Alex smiled, remembering the countless hours of research and experimentation that had led to this moment. The Xenoflora, a hybrid of Earth plants and alien species, was just one example of humanity's innovative approach to colonization. As the first wave of colonists began to disembark, Alex marveled at their determination. Each person carried with them not just supplies and equipment, but dreams of a new life on this alien world. Over the next few months, Novus Prime underwent a stunning transformation. Massive terraforming engines, powered by refined Nova Terran crystals, worked tirelessly to alter the planet's atmosphere and geological composition. Fields of Xenoflora spread across the landscape, their iridescent leaves converting toxic elements into nutrients and breathable air. But it wasn't just the planet that was changing. The colonists themselves were adapting in ways that showcased humanity's incredible resilience. In the Obsidian Canyons, where caustic winds had once made survival impossible, a group of engineers had developed a revolutionary new fabric. Inspired by the protective scales of a native creature, the material not only shielded wearers from the harsh environment, but also harvested energy from the wind itself. Near the equator, where intense radiation had previously prevented any settlement, a community of scientists had created a network of living shields. These massive, semi-sentient structures, grown from a combination of earth coral and alien fungal spores, absorbed harmful rays and converted them into spectacular light shows that illuminated the colony at night. In the polar regions, where temperatures fluctuated wildly between extreme heat and cold, architects had designed homes that mimicked the adaptive properties of certain alien lifeforms. These structures could expand, contract, and even change their molecular composition to maintain a comfortable internal environment regardless of external conditions. Alex visited each of these settlements, marveling at the ingenuity on display. In one community, she found colonists who had developed a symbiotic relationship with native crystalline entities, learning to communicate through vibrations and light patterns. In another, she saw children playing in parks where the very grass beneath their feet helped to purify the air and soil. But perhaps most impressive was the central hub, a massive dome-like structure that served as the heart of the colony. Here, humans and friendly alien species worked side by side, combining their knowledge and technologies to push the boundaries of what was possible. In the hub's main laboratory, Alex met with Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the lead xenobiologist. "We've made a breakthrough in adapting Earth crops to Novus Prime's soil composition," Elena explained excitedly. "By introducing modified bacteria and using targeted genetic enhancements, we've created strains of wheat and rice that not only thrive here, but also produce higher yields and more nutrients than their Earth counterparts." This kind of innovation was happening across all sectors. In the medical wing, doctors were developing new treatments that combined traditional human medicine with alien healing techniques. Engineers were creating vehicles that could traverse any terrain Novus Prime could throw at them, from acidic swamps to gravity-defying mountain ranges. As Alex toured the hub, she felt a profound sense of pride. This wasn't just survival. It was humanity at its very best, curious, adaptable, and determined to thrive no matter the challenges. Towards the end of her visit, Alex stood with a group of colonists on an observation deck, watching the sun set over the transformed landscape of Novus Prime. The sky, once a sickly yellow, now shimmered with hues of purple and gold. In the distance, the lights of new settlements twinkled like earthbound stars. "Did you ever imagine we'd come this far?" asked Sarah, one of the original members of Alex's team from the days of the Earth invasion. Alex shook her head, a smile playing on her lips. "Honestly, no. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? We humans, we're always surpassing our own expectations." As night fell on Novus Prime, Alex reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From refugees fleeing a dying Earth to saviors of the galaxy, and now to pioneers shaping new worlds, humanity had proven time and again that they could indeed thrive anywhere. The colonization of Novus Prime was more than just a triumph of technology and willpower. It was a testament to the human spirit, the unquenchable drive to explore, to innovate, and to create homes where none seemed possible before. As Alex prepared to depart for the next colony world, she knew that the greatest adventures still lay ahead. With each new planet, each new challenge, humanity would continue to evolve, to adapt, and to redefine what was possible. The stars were no longer a distant dream, but a new frontier, waiting to be shaped by human hands and human ingenuity. The age of cosmic colonization had begun, and humanity was leading the way, one impossible world at a time. The celebration of humanity's successful colonization efforts was cut short by an urgent transmission from the Galactic Council. Alex, now serving as Earth's ambassador, rushed to an emergency session on Nexus Prime. The atmosphere in the Grand Chamber was tense, filled with fear and uncertainty. The head of the council, its form pulsing with agitation, addressed the gathered representatives. An ancient species known as the Eternals has awakened from millennia of dormancy. They view themselves as the rightful rulers of the galaxy and consider all other races as inferior life forms to be eradicated. Holographic displays showed massive, crystalline ships emerging from the cores of dead stars, their technology far beyond anything the current galactic community possessed. Reports flooded in of entire systems being obliterated within hours. As panic spread through the chamber, Alex felt a familiar determination rising within her. She stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We've faced extinction before. We've overcome impossible odds. We can do it again, but only if we stand united." Her words caught the attention of the council and the assembled representatives. Alex continued, her passion evident in every word. "The Eternals may have advanced technology, but they've been asleep for eons. They don't understand the diversity and resilience of the galaxy as it is now. Our strength lies in our differences, in the unique perspectives each species brings." She turned to address the entire chamber. "Humans have a saying, unity in diversity. It's time we put that into practice on a galactic scale." Over the next few days, Alex and her team worked tirelessly to forge alliances and coordinate a resistance effort. They set up a war room in the heart of Nexus Prime, bringing together the brightest minds and strongest warriors from across the galaxy. Dr. Tanaka led a team of scientists in analyzing the Eternals' technology, searching for weaknesses. "Their ships seem to be powered by the energy of collapsed stars," she reported. "If we can disrupt that energy flow, we might be able to neutralize their weapons." Leo, working with a group of alien engineers, developed a plan to repurpose the quantum stabilization network they had created years ago. "We can use it to predict where the Eternals will strike next and set up defensive perimeters," he explained, his eyes alight with determination. Zara, now a respected military strategist, coordinated with various species defense forces. "We need to fight smart, not just hard," she insisted. "Hit and run tactics, guerrilla warfare on a cosmic scale. We can't match their firepower, but we can outmaneuver them." As the resistance took shape, Alex found herself at the center of it all, bridging gaps between species that had been enemies for millennia. She mediated disputes, inspired cooperation, and constantly pushed for innovative solutions that combined the strengths of multiple races. One of their first major victories came when a joint human-alien task force successfully defended a key strategic point using a combination of Earth's stealth technology, crystalline beings' natural camouflage abilities, and psychic shielding from a race of energy entities. The Eternals, for all their power, had never encountered such a diverse and coordinated opposition. But the war was far from over. The Eternals, enraged by this resistance, intensified their attacks. Entire worlds fell, and the death toll mounted. The galactic community, despite its newfound unity, was being pushed to the brink. In a desperate bid to turn the tide, Alex proposed a daring plan. "We need to take the fight to them," she announced during a strategy session. "A small, elite team to infiltrate their command structure and disable their power source." The plan was met with skepticism and concern. "It's a suicide mission," one alien commander protested. "Maybe," Alex conceded, "but it's our best shot at ending this war before we lose everything." As volunteers from various species stepped forward, willing to risk everything for the sake of the galaxy, Alex felt a profound sense of pride and responsibility. This was the culmination of everything humanity had worked for since joining the galactic community, the ability to inspire hope and unite diverse groups towards a common goal. The mission was set in motion. Using a combination of reverse-engineered eternal technology, Nova Terran crystals, and the unique abilities of multiple species, they created a ship capable of approaching the Eternals' main fleet undetected. As Alex prepared to lead the infiltration team, she addressed the gathered forces one last time. "We go into this battle not just as individual species, but as a united galaxy. The Eternals believe themselves superior because of their age and technology, but we will show them that true strength comes from adaptation, from cooperation, from the ability to see value in all forms of life." She looked out at the diverse faces before her, humans standing shoulder to shoulder with beings of energy, crystalline entities, and species beyond easy description. "Whatever happens, we've already achieved something remarkable. We've proven that the galaxy is stronger when we stand together, that diversity is not a weakness but our greatest asset." As the infiltration ship prepared for launch, Alex felt the weight of history on her shoulders. This mission would determine the fate of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in the galaxy. Yet, as she looked at her team, a mix of humans and aliens, each bringing their unique strengths to the table, she felt a surge of hope. The Eternals may have awakened to a galaxy they thought was theirs to rule, but they would find instead a united cosmic community, led by a species that had proven time and again its ability to thrive against all odds. As the ship accelerated towards its destiny, Alex silently reaffirmed the promise that had guided humanity since their first steps into the galactic stage. "We will not just survive. We will thrive. And we will do it together." The final battle for the future of the galaxy was about to begin, with humanity at its heart, ready to prove once and for all that they could indeed thrive anywhere, even in the face of cosmic annihilation. The infiltration ship, christened Unity, slipped through the void of space, its hybrid technology rendering it invisible to the Eternals' advanced sensors. Alex stood on the bridge, surrounded by her diverse team of humans and aliens, each chosen for their unique skills and unwavering determination. As they approached the massive crystalline structure that served as the Eternals' command center, Alex felt a mix of awe and determination. "Remember," she addressed her team, "our strength lies in our differences. Use every skill, every perspective we have. We're not just fighting for our individual species anymore, we're fighting for the very concept of diversity in the universe." The plan was audacious: to infiltrate the heart of the Eternal Fleet, disable their power source, and broadcast a message of unity to rally the galaxy's forces for one final push. But as they soon discovered, the Eternals' defenses were even more formidable than anticipated. The moment Unity breached the outer perimeter, alarms blared. Crystalline warriors, each as tall as 3 humans, converged on their position. The battle that ensued was like nothing any of them had experienced before. Zara led the defensive efforts, her tactical genius combining the unique abilities of each team member. A Vulcan energy being phased through solid matter, short-circuiting eternal systems. An insectoid hive mind coordinated their movements with impossible precision. Human ingenuity and adaptability kept them one step ahead of the Eternals' predictive algorithms. As they fought their way deeper into the structure, Dr. Tanaka worked feverishly to decipher the Eternals' technology. "Their entire system is based on a singular, unchanging view of the universe," she reported. "They can't comprehend or adapt to our diverse approaches." This realization became their greatest weapon. Each time the Eternals adjusted their defenses to counter one tactic, the team would switch to something completely different. Human unpredictability, combined with the varied abilities of their alien allies, kept them alive against overwhelming odds. Finally, they reached the central chamber, a vast, pulsating core of energy that powered the entire Eternal fleet. But before they could act, they found themselves face to face with the Eternal Overlord, a being of pure crystalline energy that towered over them. Insignificant creatures, its voice boomed, shaking the very structure around them. Your pathetic resistance ends here. We are eternal, unchanging, perfect. You are nothing but cosmic accidents, destined to be erased. Alex stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. You're wrong. Our imperfection, our ability to change and grow, that's our strength. We may be younger than you, but we understand something you never will: the power of unity in diversity. As she spoke, each member of her team channeled their energy into the Nova Terran crystals they carried. The crystals began to resonate, creating a harmonious frequency that clashed with the Eternal's energy signature. The Overlord recoiled, its form flickering. What? What is this? This is the sound of a universe that refuses to be silenced, Alex declared. A universe where every voice, every species, every unique perspective adds to the cosmic symphony. The chamber filled with a brilliant light as the team's combined energy surged through the Nova Terran crystals. The Eternal's core began to destabilize, its rigid, unchanging structure unable to adapt to the chaotic harmony of life. In that moment, Alex activated the quantum communicator they had brought. Her voice, carried by the combined power of their diverse energies, resonated across the galaxy. To all beings fighting for survival, for the right to exist in this vast universe, stand with us now. Our differences are not a weakness, they are our greatest strength. United, we are more than the sum of our parts. We are the force that shapes stars, that bends the very fabric of space and time. We are life, in all its beautiful, chaotic diversity. Across the galaxy, ships of all shapes and sizes, crewed by beings from countless worlds, received the message. Inspired by humanity's indomitable spirit and the power of their unity, they rallied for one final assault. The Eternal fleet, already destabilized by the attack on their core, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer variety of tactics and technologies unleashed against them. Ships piloted by silicon-based life forms phased through their defenses. Energy beings overloaded their systems. Hive minds coordinated attacks with impossible precision. And at the heart of it all were the humans, their adaptability and creativity spawning strategies the Eternals could never have predicted. As the Overlord's form began to dissipate, it fixed its gaze on Alex one last time. How? How is this possible? We are perfection. Alex stood tall, surrounded by her team, human and alien alike. No single form of life is perfection. Perfection is the endless dance of evolution, of adaptation, of finding strength in our differences. That's what you could never understand, and that's why you'll never truly be eternal. With a final surge of energy, the core imploded. The Eternal fleet, cut off from its power source, began to crumble. Across the galaxy, cheers erupted as the threat that had seemed unstoppable just hours ago vanished into the cosmic void. In the aftermath, as rescue ships converged on the remnants of the Eternal command structure, Alex and her team stood in awe of what they had accomplished. They had not just saved Earth, or even the galaxy, they had preserved the very concept of diverse life in the universe. As they were brought aboard the flagship of the United Galactic Fleet, they were met with a sight that took their breath away. The Grand Hall was filled with representatives from thousands of species, all standing in respect. A path cleared, leading to the center where the Galactic Council waited. The head of the council, its form shimmering with emotion, addressed them, humans of Earth and allies who stood with them. Today, you have proven beyond any doubt that you are indeed the universe's ultimate survivors, not through dominance or perfection, but through your unbreakable spirit, your boundless creativity, and your ability to unite even the most diverse elements of our cosmic tapestry. As Alex looked out at the assembled beings, some familiar, some beyond imagination, she felt a profound sense of hope for the future. Humanity had found its place in the universe, not as conquerors or perfect beings, but as bridges between worlds, as catalysts for cosmic cooperation. The age of isolation was over. The era of true galactic unity had begun, and humanity, with its unique blend of adaptability, creativity, and indomitable will to survive, would lead the way into a future brighter than any star in the cosmos.